Chapter 1642. As a Demon God. Demon God Huang Hai was definitely the most cunning and cautious demon god Wang Feng had ever seen. Back in the Soul Demon Sacred City, this bastard had used his hand to eliminate his two allies and set up the Black Tide. Almost every step was difficult to deal with. Even Wang Feng guessed that he was in the well of reincarnation and came here. He was sealed, but he was still very cunning. Although he had destroyed 4 of his demon wills in just a few days, none of them were easy to deal with. There were even 2 times when this guy almost escaped from him. And this time, demon god Huang Hai's method was even more ruthless. It would be difficult for Wang Feng to not care about the human souls and directly split the statue and take away the demon god Huang Hai's demon wills. He had no grudges with the human souls on the island. Wang Feng could not let them die with the demon god Huang Hai's demon wills. It was clear that demonic god Desolate Sea had prepared this trump card specially for him. He had put himself in a dilemma. Did he communicate with you? Wang Feng asked. Yes. Yu Wuxian nodded slightly. When we entered the statue and wanted to destroy him together, he threatened us. Wang Feng looked at them. He could not see any difference from the outside. Even if he sensed, he could not sense anything strange. You absorbed the soul energy from his self-immolation? Wang Feng frowned slightly. The self-immolation of a demon god's soul energy was very different from ordinary soul energy. After he used the Pangu axe to destroy the demon god Huang Hai's demon wills, he would usually absorb them into the primordial origin and purify them into pure soul energy before transferring them to the Pangu axe martial soul. Mainly because Wang Feng himself was wary that demon god Huang Hai would play tricks in his demon wills. Therefore, he used the primordial origin to calculate and purify it. After confirming that there were no problems, he could use it. He was cautious enough. He knew that demon god Huang Hai was extremely cunning and might do something to his demon wills. He might even use the souls to break the seal. Wang Feng thought about it. However, these humans were not him. Their understanding of the fiend celestials was too little. Not to mention an extremely cunning demon god like Desolate Sea. That's right. We couldn't sense it at all. We fell for it unknowingly. Martial God, you said in a low voice, we have a crystal core in the depths of our souls. This crystal core is the result of absorbing the soul energy. It has already merged with our souls. Therefore, no changes could be seen. But this crystal core is controlled by the devil god. If he wants to detonate it, our souls will immediately disappear. Wang Feng closed his eyes and sensed the soul energy in this area. Then, he absorbed it into his soul. After entering his soul, he couldn't find any clues about this soul energy. But as soon as he came into contact with the primordial source, it would immediately issue a warning. There was indeed a wisp of origin aura in this soul energy that had already taken shape. No wonder it's the origin. Could this be the source of the demonic god of the Desolate Sea? His demonic soul had burned itself and then infused the source into his soul energy. It's impossible for these human souls to detect it. Wang Feng sensed. It wasn't an evil technique like martial god you had said. If it was an evil technique, Wang Feng could use the primordial source to deduce it easily. But even he didn't notice anything strange at first, which meant that it wasn't an evil technique at all. It was an ability of the origin. Wang Feng guessed. This should be a special kind of origin related to the soul. It could split one's soul into countless wisps of soul energy through the origin and dissipate in the world. As long as these wisps of soul energy could be gathered one day, it meant that his soul could reappear in the world. It was a very powerful origin. Wang Feng didn't think the Desolate Sea demon god was very strong in terms of combat strength. His origin seemed to be the same. It was very cautious, and the crystal cores in the souls of martial god Yu and the others were a symbol. If one day, a wisp of the desolate sea demon god's consciousness was born in the soul crystal cores they absorbed, martial god Yu and the others would slowly die, and then these soul crystal cores would merge. They would form the incomplete demonic soul of the desolate sea demon god. It was equivalent to him escaping the seal of the Lord of Hell. But this time would be very long. Even so, it was already very impressive. That was the seal of the Lord of Hell. As he was thinking, the wisp of soul energy that Wang Feng absorbed suddenly turned into the phantom of the desolate sea demon god in Wang Feng's sea of consciousness. Human, if you have the courage to destroy these human souls, I will submit to you. A ghostly voice slowly rang out, carrying a faint smile. What is this origin of yours? Wang Feng asked. Oh? You can tell? There's no harm in telling. The phantom of the desolate sea demon god laughed a few times and then slowly disappeared. This is something I comprehended. It's called origin restoration. This origin has merged with my demonic soul. As long as the origin is not destroyed, my demonic soul will eventually be reborn. With that, his figure slowly disappeared. The wisp of soul energy that Wang Feng absorbed also gradually disappeared. Obviously, the demonic consciousness in the statue already knew that Wang Feng was here. The origin of the desolate sea demon god was completely used to save his life. The origin that he comprehended was used to save his life. One could imagine how afraid the desolate sea demon god was of death. Of course, from another point of view, this guy was just too cautious. The desolate sea demon god had already said the solution. As long as he destroyed all these human souls and absorbed the remaining soul energy into the primordial origin, the demonic consciousness would disappear. The demonic consciousness would then disappear. Because these human souls already had a soul crystal in them, it meant that the seed of the origin restoration had already been planted. These soul crystal nuclei had fused with their souls. Only by destroying all of them, the seed of the origin could not be destroyed. The demonic consciousness of the desolate sea demon god would really be preserved and wait for a certain moment to awaken. The desolate sea demon god is burning his boats. He is burning his demonic soul and disintegrating his origin. He is trying to fight his way out of a hopeless situation. Wang Fengxin was slightly shocked. It could be said that the desolate sea demon god's actions were similar to how he self-detonated to save himself and sent his soul into this place. They were both trying to fight his way out of a hopeless situation. Thinking of this, Wang Feng actually felt like he had found a confidant. Actually, we know, seeing Wang Feng remain silent, Martial God Yu suddenly said, if this continues and the soul crystal core is still in our souls, we will die sooner or later. My soul can disappear. Martial God Yu looked at his companions around him. They can too. But we can't make the decision for the millions of human souls on the Saint Martial Island. Their souls are not as strong as ours. They may not be able to live for long, but once their souls disappear, they will truly disappear. Even if we don't ask for reincarnation, we can't even take away the right to live. Martial God Yu said this calmly, as if he was talking about something normal. Wang Feng felt a sense of helplessness. Although he had seen through the mortal world, he could not escape the shackles of the mortal world. Even if we are just souls and no longer exist in reality, we still have the right to live. But we all have the right to live and reincarnate. Wang Feng nodded slightly. In the heavenly Tao reincarnation, the soul was not at the level of life, but it was one of the origins of life. It was a symbol of intelligent life. If he destroyed so many human souls, Wang Feng might not be affected by any heavenly punishment, but he would be affected by the karma of the universe. For example, the curse on the Red Fox supremacy was because he could not understand the yin and yang of the universe, but he wanted to interfere with the karma of the universe. That was why he was cursed. Chapter 1643. I have an idea. Wang Feng said, I need to try. You don't know how the demon god did it, but I do. An idea? Yu Wuxian was slightly surprised. He looked at the other four and asked, "What is it?" "First, you have to let the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor in," Wang Feng said. Yu Wuxian was surprised again. The other four were silent, they were waiting for Yu Wuxian's opinion. "Let him in." After a while, Yu Wuxian shouted. He seemed to be transmitting his voice. But before he could say anything, following a rumbling sound, one human soul after another flew over from afar. I'm coming!" A roar came from afar. A question mark appeared in Wang Feng's mind, and then he understood. Did this tiger really believe my words and fight its way in? Wang Fengxin thought. Wang Feng already knew about the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor when he cut the queue to get onto the island. On the outside, he looked like a big shot, but in reality, he was half a coward. He looked tough and his words were tough, but his actions were cowardly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made way for him back then and fought with him. He didn't think he would be able to trick him into coming in. Yu Wuxian heard the voice and his expression froze. He looked in front of him in surprise. That was the shadow of a beast that was charging towards them. After a while, the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor rushed in front of them in high spirits. "What are you doing?" Yu Wuxian looked at the souls that were sent flying by the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor and asked. "I'm coming in to see you," the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor said quickly. "Didn't I tell you not to come in?" Yu Wuxian frowned and asked. The Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor's expression changed slightly. Why did it feel different from what the senior said? She didn't look happy. He looked at Wang Feng on the other side. Wang Feng looked at the statue on the island. He didn't see it. He didn't think this guy would be tricked into coming in. The Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor rolled his eyes and said, "I don't care, I'm coming in to see you." Martial God Yu was speechless. She glanced at the Grand Flame Golden Tiger Emperor expressionlessly and laughed. "I didn't expect you to have the guts to do such a thing. I've really underestimated you, true Flame Tiger." Her smile looked very kind, but it was actually a little cold. "That's fine. Just keep your eyes open in the future," the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor said proudly. It seemed that the senior was right. He thought. Martial God Yu was speechless. Wang Feng could not help but cast a sidelong glance at the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor. He was a kindred spirit and a role model for his generation. He had the same demeanor as I did back then. "Since you're here." Martial God Yu glanced at the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor expressionlessly, then turned to Wang Feng. "What do you plan to do?" Wang Feng nodded slightly and walked over, looking at the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor. "Senior, look, Yu is smiling at me. She's really satisfied with what I've done," the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor said with a smile. "You're right. I didn't expect you to understand women so well. Truly amazing. To be honest, I feel that human women are too difficult to understand. Since you're so experienced, you must have experienced this many times, right? Then you must have many female confidants around you." Wang Feng's eyelids twitched. "This tiger, if you say he's stupid, he seems to be quite stupid. But if you say he's smart, he's actually a little smart. But on second thought, he's a beast after all. He doesn't understand human nature, so his personality can't be compared to humans." Wang Feng patted the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor's shoulder and told him what happened. After listening, the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor fell silent. After a while, he lowered his voice and said in a very joyful voice, "You're right. So the reason why Yu didn't let me in is because she didn't want me to absorb the soul energy and be controlled by the demon god? It's not because she doesn't want to see me?" Wang Feng glanced at him in surprise, then glanced at Yu Wuxian and nodded. The focus of humans and beasts was indeed different. Great, great. The Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor was even happier. "Senior, look, she really has me in her heart. It should be true love," Wang Fengxin said. "Can you stop shouting?" Martial God Yu couldn't help but yell, "Do you think I can't hear you?" "You Lingjia, how dare you yell at me?" The great flame golden tiger emperor suddenly became tough. "Why are you hiding this from me? Do you know how I've been through these days? So what if I'm controlled by the demon god? If you're gone, do you think I'll drag out an ignoble existence?" Martial God Yu was slightly startled. He probably didn't expect this guy to be so tough, but he immediately looked at the great flame golden tiger emperor with a hint of tenderness. The great flame golden tiger emperor quickly turned his head and looked at Wang Feng. He said loudly, "Senior, you just told me that you have a way to break the demon god's control, and you only need my help. Tell me, how can I help you?" "It's simple." Wang Feng didn't want to expose the guy's cowardice. He smiled and said, "Since you don't want to drag out an ignoble existence, it's good that you're here. You can use your soul to absorb the soul energy here and quickly condense a soul crystal core. Then you can be controlled by the demon god." The great flame golden tiger emperor looked at Wang Feng with a head full of question marks. What did he mean? "Isn't it good to fulfill your wish?" Wang Feng said with a faint smile. Martial God Yu frowned. He couldn't help but have a feeling that this guy might be in cahoots with the demon god. "Senior, you're not in cahoots with the demon god, are you?" "Impossible." The great flame golden tiger emperor simply said what was on his mind. "I believe that you're lying to me." "No, I'm not lying to you," Wang Feng said solemnly. "I need to see the condensation process of the soul crystal core to find a way to break it. The soul crystal core isn't an ordinary evil art like you think it is. It's the power of the origin. You may have touched the origin in your previous life, but it's far from enough. I'm different. The demon god's origin doesn't work on me, so I can't condense this kind of soul crystal core. Your soul is strong and your absorption speed is fast, which means that the condensation speed is also fast. The condensation process of the soul crystal core will be much faster. It won't take too much of my time. Also, there's no human soul that hasn't condensed a soul crystal core in this place. If you don't agree, you can leave now. You won't be disturbed by this kind of soul energy for too long. If you agree, then let's begin." Wang Feng said slowly and looked at the great flame golden tiger emperor. The great flame golden tiger emperor was slightly stunned. Even Martial God Yu was stunned. However, Wang Feng wasn't lying. He planned to use the primordial chaos origin to analyze the demon god's origin. Although the primordial chaos origin could analyze the origin, the energy of the origin was too complex and powerful. Under normal circumstances, it would take a long time for the primordial chaos origin to analyze it. It would take at least a few months. Wang Feng didn't know how much time would pass in the real world, so he didn't want to waste any time. However, if one had a sufficient understanding of this kind of origin in advance, then the deduction and analysis would be much, much faster. If he could observe the changes in the origin when the soul crystal core was condensed, Wang Feng was confident that he could complete the analysis in a day or two. The demon god of Huanghai had broken down his origin and merged it with the soul energy of the demon god's self-immolation. "So, little tiger, are you willing?" Wang Feng looked at the tiger with a smile. Chapter 1644. There were always choices in life. At this moment, losing to the great flame golden tiger emperor was also a choice. But he only glanced at Yu Wuxian and immediately shouted, "I am willing." Wang Feng smiled and nodded. Yu Wuxian was expressionless. "Then let's start on the shore of the island," said Wang Feng. "Don't waste a second." The great flame golden tiger emperor gritted his teeth and landed on the shore. He slightly pushed his tiger paws forward and started to absorb soul energy in a strange posture. I didn't expect this great flame golden tiger emperor to be willing to do this. An old man next to Martial God Yu sighed. Back then, when he led the army of beasts to attack us humans, he had a blood feud with us. I never thought that he would be willing to do such a thing for us after his death. These beasts are not inferior to us in intelligence. They also have emotions. Another middle-aged man glanced at Yu Wuxian. But this involves the power of the demon god's origin. Is it so easy to solve? The old man bowed slightly to Wang Feng. Although he was suspicious, his eyes looked more like he was asking for an explanation. Wang Feng didn't explain anything, because it didn't mean much. They wouldn't understand even if he explained now. As for this great flame golden tiger emperor, a triangular origin model appeared in Wang Feng's eyes and moved slightly. The primordial chaos origin flew directly above the great flame golden tiger emperor and began to analyze. Which world are you from? Wang Feng asked casually. Kanglin's star. The old man replied. He hadn't heard of it, but it seemed to have gathered many small worlds. It wasn't on the Dark Demon Realm's list of sacred realms. How was the battle with the Dark Demon Realm? Wang Feng pondered for a moment and asked. They all fell silent. Perhaps the question was a bit heavy. Wang Feng waved his hand slightly, indicating that they didn't need to say anything. Kanglin's star has a population of tens of billions. At first, the great flame golden tiger emperor attacked from the Beast King star. However, the battle with Kanglin's star only lasted for a few years. Both sides were tied. No one had the upper hand. Later, in a historical war, at least thousands of beast emperors gathered and fought against the human martial gods of the same number. That was when the Dark Demon Realm appeared and wiped out all the high-level combatants on both sides. Martial god, you said simply. It was that battle that destroyed the Kanglin star and the Beast King star. Most of the peak combatants from both sides had fallen. A small number of them were still alive, and some of them had chosen to go to the Dark Devil world. Our batch has already fallen. How long have you been here? Wang Feng asked. This question caused them to be at a loss. It was as if he couldn't even count the days. It's been a long time. After a long time, martial god, you said slowly, even after coming to this world, we've been fighting against the devil souls. Many human souls have been lost. What's left is the last soul seed of the Kanglin star. However, after you enter the reincarnation well, it doesn't matter whether you're still Kanglin planet's people or not. Wang Feng asked a question that made them feel slightly suffocated. Then, he looked at the great flame golden tiger emperor. The primordial chaos origin emitted strands of origin energy. They were in the shape of threads, circling around the great flame golden tiger emperor. Each thread seemed to contain the changes of a world, reflecting the flowing light and shadows of the galaxy. Even so, it's still better than disappearing and turning into pure soul energy to nourish this world, martial god, you said. Nutrients. Wang Feng smiled. That's an interesting way of putting it. Don't you see? We souls basically exist to maintain the abundance of souls in this world. Martial god Yu's face was cold. He was unwilling to give up. It's nothing more than nourishing these devil souls. They'll absorb our nourishment and enter the reincarnation cycle. Their souls will still be at the same level in their next life, and their potential will be very good. This method is the same as how we humans raise those animals with fodder. Wang Feng clapped his hands. For them to have such awareness, it meant that they were fully aware of their situation. It was just like the cultivators on Yunlai Island. They probably knew it too. Therefore, even if they knew that demon god Huang Hai was probably lying to them, they still chose to serve him. They still wanted to enter the reincarnation cycle, not become nourishment for this world. After chatting for a while, the primordial chaos origin shook slightly. A huge amount of information poured into Wang Feng's mind. Then, an image formed by countless soul energies appeared in his sea of consciousness. It looked like a galaxy. It started to gather slowly and finally condensed into one point. With the great flame golden tiger emperor as a specimen, the analysis will be very fast. Wang Feng nodded. He chatted with martial god Yu for a while. By the way, the Kanglin star is related to those angels. We belong to the same universe. Martial God, you suddenly said, the Angel Nebula is also widely known on the Kanglan star. After the Dark Demon Realm invaded our planet, we died in that battle, but before we died, the vanguard of the Angel Army arrived. Maybe the Kanglan star hasn't fallen into the Dark Demon Realm's clutches yet. She hesitated and said with uncertainty, if we haven't completely fallen, we might be reincarnated as humans on the Kanglan star. This was probably the hope of the deepest part of her heart. Is that so? Wang Feng was surprised. The new Angel King, Tian Xiu Wang, took the throne. He crossed half the universe and came to the North Star System where we are. After establishing the Dark Order, she created the Light and Dark Universe Alliance and called all the life forms in the universe to join. Kanglan Star was one of the first planets to join. Martial God, you recalled. Good heavens! Is Xiao Shui so powerful? Wang Fengxin said. She was going to surpass her mother. But it's not possible. Martial God, you shook his head and said, we felt that Tian Xiu Wang's ideas coincided with ours, so we joined. However, the universe we are in is not small. How can all the life forms join? It's already good enough that 10% of them joined. This information is very important to me. Thank you for telling me. Wang Fengxin felt more confident. Your soul still has the aura of an angel. I think you must have stayed on the Sky Heart Island, so I think you might have some connection with them. Martial God, you nodded. If you can really unlock the soul crystal, we will be indebted to you. To put it bluntly, we may have to repay you in the next life. Wang Feng smiled but didn't answer. Chapter 1645. Calculating the time, more than half a day had passed. Many tiny particles of soul energy had formed in the great flame Golden Tiger Emperor's soul. The origin of primordial chaos had deduced that the origin of Huang Hai's origin of origin was very unique. Yuan was the beginning. From the beginning, the chaos began to change. Wang Feng vaguely remembered that the origin of demon god Hun He, who was once an ally of the demon god of Huang Hai, was the origin of chaos. However, the origin of chaos merged everything into the chaos. The origin of origin was the opposite. It returned everything to the chaos and started anew. The deduction was very fast. By the second day, when the soul particles in the great flame Golden Tiger Emperor's soul had almost gathered together, Wang Feng had basically understood it. With the reference system, it was like using the origin of primordial chaos to observe the evolution of the origin of origin. His soul crystal core is almost formed. Martial God, you couldn't help but whisper. Yes, it's almost formed. Wang Feng nodded. Do you have a way to break it? Martial God, you wanted to stop him. Once the soul crystal core was formed, it meant that the demon god had complete control over it. Not yet. Wang Feng glanced at her. The origin of origin was very special. It was formed slowly from the beginning with the chaos. It was like merging with their souls and slowly forming the soul crystal core. When it reached a certain level, the soul crystal core would give birth to the consciousness of the demon god of Huang Hai. It was the same process as the chaos world. Therefore, the soul crystal core could not be broken. To be precise, it could not be broken by any origin of origin, let alone force it open. Otherwise, the souls of the humans would explode or disappear. Then he. Martial God, you was stunned. It's his own choice. Why? Do you want to stop him? Wang Feng was curious. He's not human. He shouldn't be involved. Martial God, you lowered his head. Wang Feng smiled. The Feather Martial God's love for the flaming Golden Tiger Emperor was probably true. The origin of primordial chaos had not given him a clear way to break the soul crystal core. To be precise, he couldn't give him a way to break the soul crystal core with his current condition. Wang Feng looked at the statue on the island, as if he could see the shadow of the demon god of the desolate sea looking at him calmly, as if saying, "It's useless. Either you kill all these humans or give up." Wang Feng turned around and continued to look at the great flame golden tiger emperor. He didn't tell it to stop, so the little tiger kept absorbing the soul energy. Wang Feng waited until the great flame golden tiger emperor had formed a soul crystal before he spoke. That's enough. The great flame golden tiger emperor immediately opened his eyes and looked at Wang Feng excitedly. Senior, how is it? Have you found a way to break it? Wang Feng remained silent. He withdrew the primordial chaos origin. Then, he opened his palm and condensed the Pangu axe. The back of the axe flashed and turned into an ancient bell. Go! Wang Feng shouted. The bell of primal chaos flew out and hovered above the island. In an instant, the countless human souls here felt their souls tremble, and they involuntarily prostrated themselves towards the ancient bell. Even Yu Wushun and the others were astonished. They had the impression that their souls were being oppressed, as if they weren't real anymore. Wang Feng took out the bell for no other reason than to suppress their soul crystal. He didn't want to give the demon god of Huang Hai a chance to make a move. He wanted to detonate it. He wouldn't let any accidents happen. Then, listen to me, Wang Feng said slowly. This method may be beyond your imagination, but this is the only possibility. Yu Wushun and the others were stunned. I'll assimilate my soul and the primordial chaos origin into countless soul energy. Wang Feng's eyes flashed. Take this opportunity to absorb the soul energy and condense another soul crystal. At the same time, use this soul crystal to devour the soul crystal that contains the consciousness of the demon god of Huang Hai. This way, his origin will be destroyed. Only this method can completely break the soul crystal. Otherwise, I'll have to kill you. That's right. Since they couldn't break the origin returning. In that case, there was only one way, and that was to fuse with the origin returning method. Wang Feng could simulate the operation of this origin with the primordial chaos origin and use the same method. Simply put, it was to use one's own origin to break the origin returning. Hearing his words, Yu Wushun and the others took a deep breath. Wasn't this the demon god's method? Then what will you do? Yu Wushun and the others were a little dazed. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor was also dumbfounded. This senior was too good, wasn't he? It had to be said that this method was really unconstrained. It even had a strange feeling of pulling chestnuts out of the fire. This was the only method. Moreover, even the Dian Golden Tiger Emperor could understand it. However, this senior needed to convert his own soul and the origin returning into countless soul energy? Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor wondered if this was the human ancestor of the Kanglan star. How could he do this? Why was he so good to these human souls? It's simple. Have you forgotten how the demon god planned to survive with this origin? Wang Feng smiled. Gather your soul crystals together, and my soul and origin will reappear. It'll be even stronger. Since I'm the one who devoured his soul energy, it'll be even faster. If this method is to succeed, we must trust each other. Wang Feng finished the last sentence. Then, it'll be very smooth. Once you doubt me, the progress will be very slow. Of course, I don't think I'm the kind of person who can give you my all. After all, we've only known each other for a short time. Wang Feng pointed at the ancient clock in the sky. So, I have a backup plan. If you don't do so, then this ancient bell will directly destroy your souls, and then automatically reassemble my soul and the soul energy of the origin. This way, I can still return to the present in the same state. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor sighed in relief when he heard this. So that's how it is. I knew this senior wasn't the human ancestor of the Kanglan star. Why did he have to go to this extent? He still had a backup plan. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor looked at the ancient clock in the sky. He also heard Wang Feng's last words. Yu Wushun and the others also had the same thought. They sighed in relief. We agree. Yu Wushun said solemnly. I'll immediately summon all the human souls. All right. There's no time to lose. Let's do it now, Wang Feng said slowly. According to my calculations, it'll take at most 3 days. Basically, you'll be able to condense a soul crystal because the energy from my origin returning will be very easy for you to condense. It's different from the demon god. Even the weakest human soul won't take long. The moment he finished speaking, Wang Feng's soul slowly disappeared and turned into soul energy. The triangular primordial origin also slowly changed and finally turned into a cloud. It carried Wang Feng's soul energy and flew above the ancient clock. As the primordial origin returning shot out a ray of light, the cloud exploded and turned into countless soul energy that enveloped the entire area. The sculpture on the island suddenly trembled. Good human! You really have the courage to do this. An inaudible roar came from inside the sculpture. It was filled with extreme disbelief. Chapter 1646. Wang Feng's current feeling was very strange. It was as if his soul was in a state of emptiness. He couldn't sense anything, but he had a feeling that everything was under his control. He wasn't burning his own soul. Instead, he was transforming his soul into countless soul energy through the primordial chaos origin. The bell of primordial chaos shot out from the Pangu axe to suppress everything in this space. He didn't allow his soul energy to leak out. This prevented him from lacking a bit during the fusion. There was no human vision. However, Wang Feng could see the entire area, including the surface of the sea. He could see wherever the soul energy was. It was similar to divine sense. However, his consciousness was very weak. It was so weak that no soul could sense his existence. It was as if he had really disappeared. However, Wang Feng knew that he existed. This situation made him think of a special type of spirit body, the void life form. That's right. Those void life forms were in a similar situation. They were life forms condensed from spirit. They didn't have any consciousness and couldn't be attacked by any form of energy. In the dark demon realm, even the demon gods couldn't do anything to them. However, Wang Feng had already analyzed the fundamental source of those void life forms. They were formed by the fusion of the energy of the soul and the chaotic energy of the chaos world after a universe-level life form died. In theory, once these void life forms developed consciousness one day and fused with the void life forms all over the universe, they could become universe-level life forms again. Therefore, to a certain extent, those universe-level life forms didn't completely die after they died. Just like Holy Keisha in the Angel Nebula, after she died, her body turned into countless holy atoms. A special energy carrier could reassemble after hundreds of millions of years. It was almost equivalent to rebirth. Wang Feng had thought that Holy Keisha's strength was infinitely close to that of a universe-level life form. It was because of this way of survival. Of course, it was hard to say about her actual combat strength. After all, universe-level life forms all had the will of the universe. It was a form of power that could represent the changes of the universe. Demon god Huang Hai is so ambitious. Wang Fengxin let out a huge sigh. This origin returning was the way demon god Huang Hai wanted to learn about universe-level life forms. Wang Feng was sure that demon god Huang Hai had recently comprehended this. It was even possible that he had comprehended it from the demonic energy, which was the will of the universe. He was already moving towards a universe-level life form, advancing towards this level. This fellow's talent and aptitude were definitely not to be underestimated. Thinking of this, Wang Feng could not help but sigh at his luck. Although there was a certain amount of risk in using this method, it was still very dangerous. However, if he succeeded, it would mean that he could also comprehend an origin similar to origin restoration. At that time, it would be equivalent to him getting a ticket to become a universe-level being. Who knew how many top-notch great beings of the universe he had defeated? Suddenly, Wang Feng felt as if he was being sucked in by something. The scattered soul energy slowly began to flutter, surging throughout the entire area. Countless scenes began to enter Wang Feng's soul. He could clearly see his soul energy being absorbed into the bodies of countless human souls. It was a wonderful feeling. Martial God Yu's influence and authority were extremely strong. Moreover, she did not tell them the truth about the humans of Kanglin's star, because there were too many human souls, and it would be very troublesome to explain. He didn't even mention the soul crystal in their souls, or the fact that they were controlled by the demon god. Once this matter was revealed, the human souls in this area would face collapse. Once a human soul could not see any hope of entering the cycle of reincarnation, his soul would be like a walking corpse, facing the possibility of disappearing. There were too many human souls on Kanglin's star, and most of them were just ordinary human souls. They had been driven to the area outside the Styx waterfall, and their chances of reincarnation were very low. If they knew that their souls were controlled by the demon god, then humans needed to be given some hope. Martial God Yu simply told them to absorb the soul energy immediately and strengthen their souls, then they would have a chance to enter the reincarnation well. This simple principle could guide all the human souls to absorb the soul energy formed by Wang Feng's soul to the greatest extent. After all, not all humans were at Martial God Yu's level. They waited quietly. As countless human souls absorbed and condensed, Wang Feng also sensed countless soul crystal cores. Wang Feng's move was to solve the origin restoration of the demon god of Huang Hai. It was not to break it. There was no way to break this kind of origin. He directly disintegrated the soul crystal core formed by the demon god of Huang Hai's soul energy. I've already condensed it. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor, who was on the shore of Saint Martial Island, condensed it the fastest. He was even faster than Martial God Yu. You're a beast. How did you condense it so quickly? Martial God Yu looked at him in surprise. Senior, didn't you say that humans have more in common with him, and that we can absorb the soul energy formed by his soul the fastest? I don't know. Maybe it's fate that brought us together. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor thought for a moment. Maybe his soul has been in contact with beasts before, so his soul energy doesn't repel mine. Martial God Yu looked pensive. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor was right about that. I'm going to start. Use your soul crystal core to devour the other one. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor took a deep breath and looked at Martial God Yu. Let me do the first experiment for you. Martial God Yu pursed his lips and said, Be careful. Don't lose it right away. After all, she paused and lowered her voice. We have to enter the cycle of reincarnation together. Only then will we have a next life. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor paused and looked at Martial God Yu with excitement. Wang Feng wanted to laugh. He could feel it. For this man and beast to have such feelings for each other, they must have had a touching experience when they were alive, right? Just like Little Three and Little Wu. Following the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor's movements, he slowly drove the crystal core in his body that was formed by Wang Feng's soul energy to crush another crystal core. Wang Feng sensed an extraordinary power. Huang Hai, I can feel the panic in your heart. As the two soul crystals collided, the soul crystal core turned into Wang Feng's shadow. The other soul crystal core turned into the demon god of Huang Hai's shadow. The demon god of Huang Hai was speechless. I never thought that there would be a human as crazy as me in this world, he said. He didn't seem to be as nervous as he had imagined. As the soul crystals collided, they communicated with their souls. Even Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor couldn't sense it. It was as if they were communicating with a speck of dust. It's just SOSO. Wang Feng waved his hand. Do you want to be devoured by me, or do you want to be more self-aware? Even if you control this soul crystal core, break the suppression by force and self-destruct, you'll only end up being devoured by me. The suppression Wang Feng was talking about was the bell of chaos in the sky. Ha, I'm not a demon god who can't afford to lose. I admit defeat, demon god of Huang Hai said calmly. Your origin is undeniably powerful. You've inherited the origin tribulation Supreme Being's origin. But I know that it can't be the origin tribulation Supreme Being's origin. It's the origin that you comprehended yourself. It's very powerful. Among all the origins I've seen, only the Yama Lord's freedom origin can compare to it. It's even slightly inferior. You flatter me. Wang Feng smiled. You can say more of that. What he meant was, boast more. I enjoy listening to it. The demon god of Huang Hai was speechless. He smiled, sighed, and then slowly disappeared. In an instant, the soul crystal core turned into countless soul energy and fused with Wang Feng's shadow. I didn't expect him to not struggle at all. Wang Feng thought for a few seconds. He was probably in despair. He used the primordial chaos origin to carry his soul. These soul crystals also contained the power of the primordial chaos origin. Even if he struggled, it would be useless. Chapter 1647. You did it. Senior is too powerful. Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor opened his eyes, which were filled with shock. At this moment, the two soul crystal cores in his body had slowly turned into one. It worked. Yu Wuxian had never thought that he could break the demon god's origin in this way. Of course, this was beyond her knowledge. She couldn't think of it because she didn't know much about the origin. However, she felt that even if she had reached the demon god's level, it would be hard for her to think of this method. To them, Wang Feng had already reached a level that was far, far too high. Following Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor's success, the leaders, led by Yu Wuxian, quickly devoured the soul crystal cores in their bodies. Only the soul crystal core that contained Wang Feng's soul energy was left. Because Wang Feng could feel it all the time, his heart calmed down. A few days later, as the last soul crystal core was devoured, the restoration origin of the desolate sea demon god was completely broken. As for Wang Feng, he had absorbed almost all of the demonic will's soul energy. Next, he only needed to quickly gather the soul crystal cores and create a true soul consciousness. Then, Wang Feng could gather all the soul crystal cores and restore his soul state. It wasn't difficult. 2 days later, Wang Feng's soul shadow was the first to emerge from the soul cores of Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor, Feather Martial God, and the others. Wang Feng's soul consciousness returned. He flew up into the sky and emitted a bright rainbow light under the bell of chaos. In an instant, the soul crystal cores in the countless souls below were all absorbed by Wang Feng. The enormous soul energy merged into Wang Feng's soul like hundreds of millions of lights. You only have one demonic will left. Wang Feng took back the chaos and changed back into the penguac. He then split the statue on the island with the axe. The remnant will of the demon god within the sculpture was already extremely weak. It was directly shattered into pieces by the remaining power of the axe, turning into soul energy that fused into Wang Feng's body. Then, it entered the primordial chaos source and poured into the penguac. As if he could see the progress bar, Wang Feng could clearly feel the changes of the penguac's martial soul. He was getting closer and closer to the penguac's true soul. This was the place where Wang Feng had spent the most time. He had spent close to 7 days in total. It's time to leave. Wang Feng landed on the ground and glanced at Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor and the others. You don't need to keep this place off limits from now on. The human souls north of the Nether River come from different galaxies. If you want to enter the reincarnation well, I suggest you work together. I'm half a disciple of both the Saint Dharma Masters and the Immortal Cultivators. Also, those angels definitely want to reincarnate as well. In fact, they were not repulsed by humans. Your Kanglan star is also a member of the Yin-Yang Universe Alliance established by Heavenly Cultivation King. They won't object to the alliance. As for your demonic beast clan, that venerable Crimson Fox won't refuse. Wang Feng did not intend to bring them into the reincarnation well. He would immediately enter the soul-cleansing sea after he dealt with the demonic spirit of the desolate ocean. There was also a frontier protector devil god there. Moreover, if Wang Feng remembered correctly, the two allied demon gods of the desolate sea were even worse off in the battle of the soul demon sacred city. They were left with only half of their souls. These two demon gods were definitely somewhere in this realm, but they were recuperating. After finding them, there were a total of 3 demon gods. They could at least restore the Pangu Axe's soul remnant to about 70% or even higher. Once he reached this level, Wang Feng would also cultivate his own soul. By then, Wang Feng would not be afraid that Emotiance would enter this place in the form of a soul and pose any threat to him. "Senior, are you leaving now?" The great flame golden tiger emperor's body shook. "Why don't you stay and lead us into the soul-cleansing sea? You're also a human who has dealt with so many demon gods. Your prestige will definitely be the highest. With your ability, you can definitely lead us to the reincarnation well. As long as we reincarnate, I believe that we won't forget you." Wang Feng smiled and said, "I don't have the time. However, I'll open up a path to the soul-cleansing sea. If you can quickly unite, you can follow me into the soul-cleansing sea. However, I'll be facing the demonic spirits of the 3 demon gods later. Once there's a battle, the aftermath will kill many human souls. Therefore, it's not a good thing to follow me. As for the afterlife, it's the beginning. Everything will be forgotten, and everything will be restarted. Otherwise, it should be called rebirth. It's not reincarnation. Don't underestimate reincarnation. It's the cycle of life in the universe." Wang Feng said leisurely, "You haven't reached the level where you can retain your memories and reincarnate in this world. At most, you'll have a vague impression of your next life. Even if there's a special secret technique, it's very limited. Not everyone can do it." The great flame golden tiger emperor was silent. Yu Wuxian nodded slightly. That was indeed the case. They were the top humans on the Kanglan star, and had the power to step into the stars. In the real world, they were much stronger than titled Douluo in the Douluo world. They were even very close to the Dark Demon world's Demon King. The Demon King belonged to the stage where he was about to comprehend the origin. Naturally, Yu Wuxian and the others were very familiar with the rules of the Kanglan star. They knew that reincarnation was not something that anyone could touch. They could let these human remnant souls reincarnate on the Kanglan star because the Kanglan star had a special world rule. It was impossible for them to retain their memories. "Senior, we'll remember what you've done today in the depths of our souls." Yu Wuxian and the others beside her had solemn expressions. Wang Feng waved his hand. "I'll leave first. Maybe we'll meet again in the soul-cleansing ocean. I hope you can reach there smoothly." He wasn't from the Kanglan star. He sympathized with the suffering of their planet, but he couldn't empathize and put himself in their shoes. Therefore, he didn't have much of a sense of mission to save these humans. If they were in the Douluo world, Wang Feng would be more familiar with them. Wang Feng felt that he would not only turn the demon god of desolation into ashes, but also destroy this world with an axe. But it seemed that he wouldn't meet them. Weaker soul beasts like the golden lightning leopard would die in the war in the Douluo world. As for people like Qing Qing, or those cheap disciples of his, they were all very powerful. It was impossible for them to die in the war with the soul demons, unless Emotiance personally went to the battlefield, tracked down Wang Feng's origin, and destroyed the Douluo world with a sneeze. But that was even more unlikely. If that was the case, their souls would be directly obliterated, and they wouldn't have the chance to come to this world. The reason why Wang Feng asked Bibidon to return to the Douluo world was because the Douluo world was about to evolve to the level of the divine realm because of the overflowing life energy of his main body. Letting Bibidon return to preside over the overall situation meant that a world comparable to the Douluo divine realm was about to rise. Moreover, that world would be the main source of faith. Because the current Douluo world was the world of soul charmers. The stronger that world was, the more help it could provide to Wang Feng. Wang Feng even had a hunch that his chaotic green lotus martial soul was very likely to be closely related to the Douluo world if it wanted to materialize. That was why Wang Feng asked Bibidon to return to the Douluo world. After bidding farewell to the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor and the others, Wang Feng immediately set off for the place where the last strand of the demon god of desolation's demonic consciousness was sealed. Chapter 1648. The boundless surface of the sea reflected the light, but there were no ups and downs. Wang Fengxin was calm. The last sealed demonic will of demon god Desolate Sea was located on a lone island. Wang Feng arrived in less than half a day. The lone island was located at the edge of the sea. The reason why it was a lone island was because the concentration of soul energy here was so low that it was almost non-existent. Souls would quickly dissipate in such a place. Therefore, no humans had moved to this place. The island wasn't big, and there wasn't a second island in sight. It looked like a small hill. Wang Feng flew to the island peak and saw a huge pagoda statue. There was a phantom floating at the top of the pagoda statue. It was the phantom formed by Huang Hai's demonic will. He sat cross-legged at the top and seemed to have been waiting for a while. "Why aren't you struggling at the last moment?" Wang Fengrao looked at Huang Hai with interest. "I made a bet with you that you wouldn't destroy my last demonic will." Huang Hai looked at the Dead Sea in the distance. It was as calm as an ancient well. He did not notice Wang Feng's arrival at all. Wang Feng did not say anything. The Pangu axe in his hand lit up and he slashed down without a word. "Wait. You human, can you be reasonable?" Huang Hai instinctively jumped up and said in a deep voice, "I haven't even finished speaking and you're already in a hurry to attack? I'm not interested." Wang Feng slashed down with his axe. In an instant, the pagoda statue was split into two. Immediately after, the back of the axe transformed into the bell of chaos and suppressed the top of the broken pagoda statue. Huang Hai's last demonic will slowly emerged from the statue, but it was suppressed by the rainbow light emitted from the chaos and could not move at all. Immediately after, Wang Feng slashed down with his axe again. "Human!" Huang Hai could no longer remain calm and could no longer sit still. He realized that this human did not follow the rules at all. He was not even interested in hearing his last words. "This secret has something to do with the Yama Lord. Don't you want to hear it?" He could not help but let out a final roar. At this moment, the Desolate Sea demonic god's desire to live was extremely strong. "Let me tell you, if you kill me, you will be the next me." Wang Feng's axe did not stop at all. In an instant, it chopped at the last strand of demonic god Desolate Sea's demonic will. Boom! A huge amount of soul energy erupted. The last demonic will disappeared from the world. With his hands behind his back, Wang Feng looked at him with a calm expression and said slowly, "You are just a chess piece, but I will not be a chess piece. I am not you, Huang Hai." Demonic god Desolate Ocean was no longer breathing, so he naturally could not hear Wang Feng's words. However, the immense spiritual energy was extremely violent and restless. It seemed to contain the last bit of the Desolate Sea demon god's unwillingness. The primordial chaos origin floated above Wang Feng's palm, absorbing soul energy like a whale sucking in water. In just a moment it was completely absorbed. After putting away the chaos bell, Wang Feng injected all the energy in his origin into the Pangu axe. The Pangu axe emitted a lustrous glow. The ancient axe body became increasingly clear, and the supreme aura that could cut through the primal chaos became increasingly solid. It was also becoming more and more terrifying. Suddenly, Wang Feng felt the world around him tremble. Monstrous waves surged on the Dead Sea surface. The sky changed unpredictably, as if it was about to collapse. It became a little gloomier. It was as if the world was trembling. Wang Feng weighed the Pangu axe in his hand and suddenly sensed a strange power. This is Wang Feng's eyes narrowed. The intent contained in the Pangu axe martial soul. At this moment, Wang Feng could feel the power of this axe. He gently stroked the axe body, and the scene of the primal chaos breaking apart and billions of purple light descending appeared in his mind. At this moment, he could feel the aura of life contained in this supreme treasure and his own intent to split open the heavens. However, it did not last long. In less than 10 breaths, the world returned to calmness. It was like a flash in the pan. Perhaps only the complete Pangu Axe true soul can truly feel it. This kind of enlightenment was very useful to Wang Feng at his current level. Speaking of which, the demonic god Desolate Ocean's 6 demonic wills have been destroyed. His demonic aura should be with the Yama Lord, right? Wang Feng thought for a moment. After all, it was sealed by the Yama Lord. The Yama Lord had probably obtained the demonic aura from the demonic god Desolate Ocean long ago. He nodded. He did not care much about the demonic aura. If nothing unexpected happened, Wang Feng felt that with the Pangu Axe or the chaotic green lotus, these 2 supreme treasures that could break the primal chaos of the universe, he could become a universe-level life form. He did not need the universe's intent contained in the demonic aura at all. After packing up everything, Wang Feng was about to leave. What's this? Suddenly, Wang Feng glanced at the broken pagoda statue from the corner of his eyes. He saw a row of words under the broken statue. It was the ancient demon language of the dark demon world. Wang Feng's heart skipped a beat. He frowned slightly and walked over. Human, if you see this sentence, it means that I am no longer here. You killed me, right? Why don't you take a guess? When did I leave those words behind? Wang Feng's breathing paused slightly. This was left behind by the demonic god Desolate Ocean? You wouldn't have guessed that this was left behind when my true self was sealed. Wang Feng was stunned. If so, it meant that the demonic god Desolate Ocean already knew that he would be killed by him? Impossible. When the demonic god Desolate Ocean was sealed, he was not in this world yet. At the same time, if you see this sentence, it means that I did not have time to tell you directly. You are indeed the same as me. Tens of thousands of years ago, I, the demon god of desolation, started as a soul demon with mediocre strength and low innate talent. Then, I became the demon god of today. I went through countless hardships, fought with all the races in the universe, slaughtered countless lives, and beheaded countless gods. I thought I could reach the end of the universe. I did not expect to end up in such a situation. How laughable. Since you have seen this sentence, I will not waste time with you. I think, with your intelligence, you must think that I killed myself and my soul came to this world to bring the demonic aura into the reincarnation well to reincarnate and escape from the dark demon world, right? Wang Feng frowned slightly. Was that not the case? It is normal for you to be able to guess this. It is also in line with my nature. In fact, if this demonic aura could really turn me into a universe-level life form, I would definitely do the same. But in fact, it is not. When I obtained this demonic aura, I knew that the demonic ancestor deliberately left this demonic aura for us juniors. Do you know what kind of universe-level willpower is contained in it? You will not be able to guess it. Of course, I will not be able to guess it. How could Wang Feng guess it without thinking? But that might not be the case. Wang Feng was suddenly stunned. According to the historical records he obtained in the dark demon world, that demonic ancestor, Mo Tiance, obtained a total of 3 demonic auras. In other words, he obtained 3 universe-level willpowers and only relied on 2 demonic auras to become a universe-level life form, and left 1 behind. According to what was said at that time, that demonic ancestor wanted to leave an opportunity for the dark demon world so that the juniors could also become universe-level life forms. But there was a big problem here. Wang Feng did not notice it before. Now that he saw the words left behind by the demonic god Desolate Ocean, he suddenly remembered. Was that demonic ancestor Emotiance that good? According to Emotiance's performance back then, he even saw the dark demon world as an ant. In order to eliminate Wang Feng, he did not have much pity for the dark demon world. He even used the mysterious universe-level willpower to suppress Wang Feng, making it difficult for Wang Feng to resist. At that time, the dark demon world must have suffered a great loss. So, was this Emotiance that good? Wang Feng did not believe that the bastard was such a good person. Greedy and cunning. The reason why Emotiance attacked Wang Feng was because he coveted the ancestral domain. Was he the kind senior that would leave behind a universe-level willpower for the juniors? If not, what was the meaning of him leaving behind this demonic aura? Wang Feng felt that it must be for himself. Chapter 1649. If that was the case, then there was an explanation. Wang Fengxin thought of something and continued reading. This is an incomplete will of the universe. It's called calamity luck. It's the will of the universe that can control the calamities in the universe. But it's incomplete. What does it mean to be incomplete? It means that once you touch this will of the universe, you'll be cursed endlessly if you can't get the complete version. This sentence reminded Wang Feng of the Crimson Fox Supreme. Once you're cursed, you'll never be able to get rid of it. He had to admit that it was somewhat credible, because the Crimson Fox Supreme belonged to the Crimson Divine Fox Supreme. That ancestor demon knew that this wisp of demonic chi was the incomplete will of the universe, so he didn't take it away immediately. So he left it in the dark demon world as an experiment. He suppressed it under the Heaven Nether River and knew that ordinary soul demons couldn't get it. Even the Lord of Hell couldn't break a place like the Heaven Nether River. Once you get it, you'll definitely have great luck and great strength. Although it was only written in handwriting, Wang Feng seemed to have heard the words of the demon god of Huang Hai. His heart sank slightly. I don't know much, but once such an existence obtains this wisp of demonic chi, with his great luck, it's very likely that he'll be able to offset this curse. At this time, it's inevitable that this ancestor demon will appear and take away the soul demon with the demonic chi. He'll be able to get the will of the universe contained in this wisp of demonic chi unscathed. Ha 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 ha! The handwriting was messy and wild. One could imagine the unwillingness and anger of the demon god of Huang Hai when he left these words. I schemed and schemed, but I didn't expect that after I obtained this wisp of devil chi, I would be wild with joy and want to comprehend the will of the universe within it. However, just as my consciousness entered the devil chi, I was cursed by a terrifying will of the universe. Do you think I came to this world by burning my own demonic body? Bullshit. It's because I was cursed. I was about to pass through the wormhole world when I was accidentally killed by an expert from another universe. Helpless, I returned to the dark demon world and triggered the black tide that I've already set up. Then, I attracted the clear sky palace and my soul came to this world, where it was found. However, I thought that after I died the curse would disappear. But it didn't. Not only did it not disappear, this curse caused me to fall beside the Yama King as soon as I arrived in this world. Although the Yama Lord was in this world, he had already learned of what had happened in the dark demon realm. He immediately severed my soul, divided it into 8 parts, and sealed them outside the Styx waterfall. Furthermore, she managed to obtain that strand of demonic aura. Wang Feng. He did not expect demon god Desolate Sea to have such an unknown story. Later, when I was here, I suddenly understood. Through my schemes, I obtained that wisp of fiendish aura. But in reality, that demonic chi should have belonged to you. Because you obtained the Heaven Styx River. You've done something that even the King Yenluo couldn't do. You're the one who possesses heavenly luck, and can even counteract the curse of this incomplete universe's will. He is also the one that the first devil wanted to use and scheme against. At this point, the writing stopped for a long time. Wang Feng was silent for a moment. When demon god Desolate Sea said this, he was really pitiful. He had painstakingly obtained the demonic chi through his schemes. The hidden will of the universe thought that he could open the door to becoming a universe-level life form. In the end, he realized that this thing was not something he could obtain, because by right that demonic chi should have belonged to him. But if it belonged to him, he was not sure if he would be cursed by the incomplete universe's will. But he was sure that Mo Tiance had noticed it immediately. By then, he would be the one who made the wedding dress for someone else. Wang Fengxin smiled. In that case, he had to thank demon god Desolate Sea. Human, I know that you must be glad after hearing this. If you were the one who obtained the demonic chi back then, you would have been targeted by the first devil. And when the first devil obtained that demonic chi, even your soul would not be able to escape. You would be absorbed and refined by him. The writing stopped for a long time before continuing again. He was probably thinking, but if I were you, I wouldn't be happy. Because if I told you that the Yama Lord knew the secret of that demonic chi long ago, all of this was merely part of her scheme. Even my soul was sealed in 6 different places. She did it on purpose. Now that you have absorbed my demonic will soul in 6 places, I wonder if you can still be happy? Wang Feng was slightly stunned. He had actually considered this point. Why did the Yama Lord seal demon god Desolate Sea's soul in 6 places in this world? Even if the Yama Lord could not destroy demon god Desolate Sea's soul, he must have many ways to deal with it. But he had to separate demon god Desolate Sea's soul in 6 places. The most interesting thing was that the strength of the demonic will in 6 places was the limit that he could deal with in the beginning. If demon god Desolate Sea's demonic will was a little stronger on Yunlai Island, he would definitely be able to escape. But it was cut down by Wang Feng's axe. Then, the Pangu axe became stronger. Every demonic will that followed would be easy to deal with. This was too much of a coincidence. Why didn't the Yama Lord divide it into 3, 4, or 5? I even know that the Yama Lord seemed to know that you would come here. Because she didn't destroy my soul directly, I guessed that she was preparing something. All of this must be related to the demonic energy. That demonic energy should have been obtained by you. Naturally, all of this must be related to you. Speaking of which, human, do you know why I have to tell you so much? Wang Feng was still deep in thought. He thought about it when he saw this paragraph, but he couldn't think of a complete answer. Why did demon god Desolate Sea have to tell him all this? If he didn't say it, the situation would be even worse for him. Because I hate being used as a pawn. Wang Feng could feel a strong sense of indignation through the messy handwriting. Especially being used as a pawn by the Yama Lord. In the words of you humans, she is my bowl, the benefactor who helped me become a demon god. I admire her, and I used to be incomparably convinced and revered her. But in the end, I was used as a pawn. Do you know why I have to obtain that demonic energy? Wang Feng had heard of this before. Demon god Desolate Sea was a demon god born in the magical machine era of the dark demon world. He was groomed by the Yama Lord. Therefore, when he joined forces with the other 2 demon gods to attack the Soul Demon Sacred City and create the Black Tide while Yama Lord was away, he was secretly despised by the soul demons and even the demon gods. Chapter 1650. Because I learned that Yama Lord went to the Well of Reincarnation. She wanted to control the Well of Reincarnation and use the dark demon world as the foundation to comprehend the will of the universe. To become a universe-level life form. But it's too difficult. To comprehend it, she needs at least a universe-level life form as a reference. But she couldn't get that wisp of demonic energy. I wanted to get that wisp of demonic energy, comprehend it, and share it with her. To help her comprehend it and become a universe-level life form. But in the end, she's just a pawn. Human, you're also her pawn now. I hope you know what's good for you. If possible, I hope. He paused here for a long time. You can *CK her over. That's it. Wang Feng. He roughly understood why Demon God Desolate Sea had said those words. He wanted to use his final struggle to disrupt Yama Lord's game. He wanted him to be wary of Yama Lord and be aggressive. After reading it, Wang Feng was silent for a long time. He waved his hand gently and the words disappeared. Wang Feng's heart wavered slightly, but he quickly calmed down. Whether what Huang Hai said was true or not, it only represented Huang Hai. Wang Feng still needed to feel the actual situation himself. It's time to cultivate the soul, Wang Feng thought to himself. He had finished absorbing Huang Hai's demonic consciousness. Next, Wang Feng needed to deduce a cultivation technique system that could cultivate the soul. Looking at the boundless coast in the distance and the waterfall of the Styx River that connected heaven and earth, Wang Feng plunged into the sea. He circulated his qi and swallowed the seawater crazily, turning it into pure energy for the primordial origin to deduce quickly. A small whirlpool began to form in the originally deathly still sea where Wang Feng had stopped. Then, the whirlpool grew rapidly. In just a few days, the whirlpool gradually spread. The seawater began to disappear as if it had evaporated. And the primordial origin's deduction was progressing faster and faster. So, it was the foundation of life and life. Different life forms had different souls. For example, the human race. In different universes, the human race's soul was different due to the different laws of heaven and earth. Some human souls were divided into 3 souls: heaven, earth, and human. Some human souls were divided into 3 souls and 7 spirit. Some human souls were divided into yin and yang. But the essence of the human soul was the same. In the process of deducing, Wang Feng thought of the origin-convergence origin. The soul of a universe-level life form was as vast as the 9 heavenly galaxies. Therefore, even if they disappeared, their souls would only turn into countless tiny energy particles and would never disappear. If you want to become a universe-level life form, other than comprehending the universe willpower, your soul must also reach a higher level. Therefore, the end of the soul must be the reincarnation of the universe, the endless primordial wheel. He seemed to have understood something. Segments of syllables were deduced from the primal chaos source. With the time of the origin wheel as the foundation and the reincarnation of the universe as the end, the soul is immortal and indestructible. Even if the galaxy is shattered and the universe is annihilated, the soul will still be indestructible. Wang Feng opened his eyes at the bottom of the sea. It was unknown how much time had passed. Perhaps it wasn't long. However, the primordial chaos source's deduction finally came to a conclusion. The soul cultivation system finally had a beginning. It would take a very long time to complete each system and the corresponding cultivation method. But with a start, it was enough for him to cultivate. In the universe, with the origin wheel, which was the universe time, 129,600 years, there would be calamities in the universe. It symbolized that countless universe-level life forms would have to go through a reincarnation cycle. It was a symbol of death, and also the beginning of all living things. If one wanted to be indestructible, the soul had to surpass this number. Hence, Wang Feng's soul cultivation didn't absorb any soul energy. He wanted to absorb time. He wanted to merge the soul with time and become immortal in the universe annihilation. This was deduced by the primordial chaos source, the only way for the soul to surpass the universe-level life form he knew. Origin wheel time soul. Such a soul, the moment it was successfully cultivated, it would be very powerful. However, the difficulty wasn't just high. Time was the law. It was the law of the world, the law of the universe, and even the will of the universe. To absorb time to cultivate the soul, Wang Feng felt that the primordial chaos source's deduction wasn't something normal people could cultivate. However, thinking about it, how would he know if he didn't try? Even though it was still incomplete, it wasn't impossible to give it a try. This was the origin wheel time soul. The first level was to allow the soul to flow with time and enter the river of time, to obtain the essence of time and use it to strengthen the soul. Every world had its own basic law of time. And this world also had it. The primordial chaos source had already deduced the first level, so Wang Feng planned to give it a try and use this world as an experiment. Wang Feng stopped the operation of the energy conversion technique, and the huge vortex in the sea began to slowly disappear. He flew into the air and immersed his soul. According to the syllables of the cultivation technique deduced by the primordial chaos source, he tried to let his soul enter the time of this world. But it was too difficult. He had no clue. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng seemed to have thought of something. He began to recall the bits and pieces of when he came to this world. All of a sudden, Wang Feng felt that the world seemed to have changed. Countless scenes began to combine in his soul. From the moment he entered this world to the moment he encountered the first soul demon. Countless scenes, like a jigsaw puzzle, merged into a long river. But this long river was incomplete. It was like a world map, only a few maps were pasted on it, and the other places were all blank. When he looked at the river, he could only see boundless emptiness. What he had encountered before was not even worth mentioning in this river. The strange thing was that this long river was still flowing. Every second, there were countless gray scenes flowing at the bottom of the long river. But he could not see any. This is a time gap. I can see the flow of time in this world. Wang Fengxin was shocked. Because he had the ancestral realm, he was clear about the operation of the world. His soul plunged into this long river. Wang Feng only felt an incomparably powerful mysterious force pulling at his soul as if it was about to tear it apart. The cultivation technique deduced by the primordial chaos source is really powerful. I didn't expect to be able to perceive the flow of time in this world so quickly. No. Could it be because of my soul? Wang Fengxin's heart stirred. Forget it. I'll try to absorb the time of this world first. Just by immersing my soul in this long river of time, I can feel countless karmic forces pulling at me. This is really not something that ordinary people can cultivate. Over time, even if my soul has been tempered by karmic fire, it will still be tainted with countless karmic forces. The time in this world was constructed from the experiences of countless lives. Absorbing this time into his soul was equivalent to turning the experiences of countless lives into his own. Thus, his soul would become stronger. Just imagine a world, even a planet in Wang Feng's previous life, had a population of billions. If the experiences of billions of people were to be fused into one soul, who knew how much pressure it would have to endure? But at the same time, once he got through it, his soul would certainly reach a terrifying level. Chapter 1651. While Wang Feng was submerged in the sea to cultivate his soul. After an unknown period of time. Sky Heart Island. Angel Foam looked at the small island that was gradually disappearing from midair. With a resolute gaze, she turned and looked into the distance. There was the Styx waterfall. They were angels, preparing to head to the Styx waterfall and kill a bloody path to the soul-cleansing ocean to find the opportunity to reincarnate. In our angel nebula, after an angel dies, our souls will return to the universe, to find new life. A female angel beside Angel Foam patted Angel Foam's shoulder. Don't worry. The evil demon god under Sky Heart Island has disappeared. Our duty is done. It's time to fight. Yes. Angel Foam nodded. Her tone suddenly became a little worried. Sister Ing, can we do it with just us angels? The angel called Sister Ing smiled and said, "That's right. Captain Lung looked down on humans when she was alive. But to fight for the last time, she sent us to contact the human souls in other regions. The situation seems to be good. The souls of the suppressed demon gods in other regions have all disappeared. I heard that it was a human soul that destroyed them." She paused, looking very surprised. "Also, it seems that when we were fighting with the soul demons a few weeks ago, that human soul appeared. It was the intense light that destroyed Sky Heart Island. But we angels did not see each other." "So that's how it is," Angel Foam said thoughtfully. "I didn't tell you that day. In fact, I met a human soul that day and saw him attack with my own eyes. But later, he left quickly. He only said a few words to me. Also, he seemed to be very interested in us angels. He also asked a lot about Tian Xiuwang." "You met him?" Angel Ing looked surprised. "Why didn't you say so earlier? I was afraid you wouldn't believe me." "He said his name was Xie Qianren." Angel Foam said, "A few days ago, I asked Captain Ling indirectly. She said she didn't know." Although Captain Ling was part of the first batch of angels to join the Dark Array and respect Tian Xiuwang, she was not his personal guard. She only knew a little about Tian Xiuwang. It's not very detailed. I know of an angel who knows Tian Xiuwang very well. Angel Ing suddenly said, however, she went to the Styx waterfall first as a vanguard to scout for information. Let's find a chance to ask her. Speaking of which, this human soul is so powerful, and he has even subdued the suppressed devil consciousness of many demon gods. Why didn't he bring the humans to the Styx River? Maybe he has his own matters to attend to. Angel Foam recalled Xie Qianren and could not help but explain. In this world, what could be more important than reincarnation? Angel Ing patted Angel Mo's shoulder again. Perhaps this human did the same thing and entered the cycle of reincarnation. It's just that it's in a way that we can't understand. Angel Mo felt that Sister Ing was very understanding. Heh, Sister Ing knows how to talk. Angel Foam pursed her lips and smiled. Suddenly, she said with a serious expression, "If it were Captain Ling, he would definitely mock and ridicule. Aren't humans all selfish? He was so strong that he could even take care of a demon god, so why did he have to bring so many burdens along? There were hundreds of millions of human souls, and most of them were ordinary human souls. If I were him, I would definitely be alone. I would be too lazy to bring so many useless human souls." "Ha ha. Little Mo, your demeanor is quite similar to Captain Ling's." Angel Ing smiled. However, although Captain Ling would say that, he would not do it. Look, didn't he still contact those humans? That's because Captain Ling was worried that he would fail this time. It was probably because they believed in the saying, "There is strength in numbers." Furthermore, he is the most powerful angel here. He still wants to be responsible for us. Angel Foam thought for a moment and said. Angel Ing nodded approvingly. At this moment, a cold voice entered their ears. "What are you two talking about here?" A valiant female angel flew over from afar. Even in soul form, she emitted a fierce aura. She quickly flew over and scolded them. "I heard the two of you talking here and there from afar. Just because I'm dead, I'm not your captain anymore? Little Mo, go to the front right to receive those demon beasts." Why do you want me to receive those demon beasts? I don't want. Those demon beasts are ugly. Angel Foam's expression was bitter. "Captain Ling, why don't I switch with Sister Ing?" The angel glared at her coldly and said impatiently, "Cut the crap. Just go when I tell you to." Angel Foam trembled. Due to the latter's majesty, she still flew away with a crying face. Angel Ing did not leave. She only asked, "How confident are you this time?" 60 to 70%, Angel Ing replied. After thinking for a moment, she said, "What's that human saying again? Succeed or die trying. Otherwise, if we stay here, we will slowly fade away. This opportunity has come. I hope nothing happens to those humans. Angel Ing nodded. As Angel Ling's assistant, she also knew that this was the last chance. She asked again. A few days ago, the sea surface shook. A huge whirlpool appeared at the border. How is the situation? The angels I sent didn't notice anything, but such a terrifying whirlpool caused the entire sea surface to fall. It's very strange. I was worried that they would be in danger, so I let them return first. Anyway, it's not a demon god. It might have nothing to do with us. Angel Ling shook her head. Looking at the angels flying not far away from her, a hint of hostility appeared between her brows. It's time to teach those soul demons a lesson. Angel Ing, follow me. I've already contacted a few human powerhouses. I plan to be the vanguard. After entering the Nether River, we will definitely encounter a large number of demon souls. Try to minimize your casualties. How many are there? Not many. Hundreds. It's a pity for Cloud Gathering Island. Their cultivators were bewitched by the demon god. Later, I heard that humans saw through it. Then, countless human souls devoured them. Otherwise, they would also be a powerful force. Angel Ing nodded slightly. Following Angel Ling, she turned into a stream of light and sped toward the Nether River waterfall. A moment later, a few miles away from the Nether River waterfall, they were the first to see a group of figures waiting for them. Other than the dozens of familiar saint spellmasters in the lead, there were 2 humans from Cloud Gathering Island. It's an angel. Among the figures, Mu Ro's eyes lit up. Shang Jun, look. I didn't expect that I would have the chance to fight alongside an angel. I see it. Shang Jun glanced at her. End of chapter. Chapter 1652. Angels are really perfect. Mu Ro suddenly sighed. Look at their souls. They're all dead. Each of them looks so beautiful and their figures are so perfect. They're just like goddesses. The civilization level of the Angel Nebula is many times higher than our cerulean planet. Shang Jun said seriously. They have highly advanced genetic technology. Naturally, their appearance is much more perfect than ours. Moreover, strength and power don't depend on appearance. Look at these Saint Dharma Masters. They're all skinny but their souls aren't weak. Shang Jun pointed at the group of Saint Dharma Masters beside her. The Saint Mage in the lead was very old. He was an old man and was indeed as thin as firewood. He held a magic staff that was condensed from soul energy. Hearing this, he only smiled awkwardly. I think they're just SOSO. Mu Ro glanced at these Saint Dharma Masters. We've only spent a few months and it seems like we're about to catch up with them. That's because the 7 emotions Immortal Soul Record Senior gave us is too powerful. Shang Jun's eyes were filled with reverence. Our aptitude is actually not bad. It's not just us who cultivate very fast. The brave souls among us humans who have slightly special souls cultivate very fast. If those cultivators from Yunlai Island were still here, they wouldn't be able to cultivate as fast as us. Although compared to those demonic souls, they're still very weak. Let's talk about other things. I wonder where Senior Wang is now? Mu Ro looked into the distance. A moment later, Angel Ling led a group of angels and landed around them. They reluctantly exchanged a few pleasantries. I'll send people to receive that group of martial artists and demon beasts. Wait for a moment. When they arrive, we'll set off. Angel Ling looked at everyone. His gaze paused on Mu Ro, Shang Jun, and the people around them for a moment. He frowned slightly. You're humans from Cerulean Planet? I remember that other than those super warriors, the humans from Cerulean Planet are all very weak, right? Can you represent Cerulean Planet humans? What? Mu Ro was stunned. She immediately said, Angel, don't look down on people. What's wrong with Cerulean Planet humans? I know you must have died in the Galactic War. You don't have a good impression of Cerulean Planet humans. But we're different now. The angel sneered and was too lazy to speak. Whatever. Since you can represent the humans of the blue planet, don't hide behind us and tremble after we pass the Styx waterfall. You! Just as Mu Ro was about to get angry, Shang Jun and her other companions pulled her back. There's no need. The Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record had the Seven Emotions soul-gazing technique. It could allow one to sense the emotional fluctuations of the soul very intensely. Haven't you noticed that although this angel's tone is very aggressive, she doesn't have any ill will toward us? Shang Jun's eyes flashed. Mu Ro scratched her head as if she had recalled something. She couldn't help but chuckle. Oh, that's true. I forgot. Shang Jun looked at her helplessly. This guy's brain seems to have a one-track mind. It looked ordinary. However, the speed at which she cultivated the Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record was even faster than his. Truly, fortune favors fools. The Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record was a complete set of records regarding soul cultivation. Among them, the Seven Emotions Soul Refining Technique was a soul cultivation technique. There were also many other uses, such as soul attacks, divine senses, mental restrictions, and so on. There were many introductions to the various secret technique. It was an orthodox soul cultivation secret technique passed down by the immortals. However, Shang Jun felt that this was definitely not the original Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record. That senior had said that it had been improved. It wasn't completely the Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record passed down by the immortal cultivators on Cloud Gathering Island. It seemed to be very suitable for them to cultivate. Moreover, there were many notes added to make it easier for humans to understand. It could be said that the difficulty of cultivation had been greatly reduced. Moreover, the cultivation speed and effects were obviously different. That angel! Mu Ro shouted. Did you meet another person called Wang Aotian on Sky Heart Island? What the hell? Angel Ling turned to look at her and frowned. Do you think that humans can enter the island where we angels live? No. That's strange. Mu Ro couldn't figure it out and sighed. Don't worry. We will meet again if fate allows. Shang Jun patted Mu Ro's shoulder. Senior should have been there before. However, he might not have met these angels directly. Mu Ro nodded. After a while, Angel Ling suddenly looked at a red figure in the distance. What a powerful soul aura. That Scarlet Fox Supreme from the demonic beasts is really different. I wonder what kind of powerful life form he is. His soul aura is so strong. Scarlet Fox Supreme led 3 beast spirits and dozens of demonic beasts to this place. Angel Mo carefully led these demonic beasts in front. The captain is here, Angel Mo said softly. Angel Ling nodded and walked over. After a while, several angels brought different humans to this place from afar. In just a short while, a group of people had gathered. Angel Ling, long time no see. The representative of the warriors, Yu Wushan, also came with dozens of human warriors. Yu Lingjiao, a smile appeared on Angel Ling's face. I didn't expect you to still be here. Good, very good. The demonic beast beside you? He. Yu Wushan glanced at the great flame golden tiger emperor beside him. He can be considered my soul mate. Angel Ling showed an incredulous expression and looked at him in astonishment. You, a human and a beast. You are of different races. How can you be soulmates? This is unbelievable. Angel, what are you talking about? The great flame golden tiger emperor glared at Angel Ling unhappily. What's wrong with a human and a beast? I heard that the level of the angel civilization is very high. You even have some genetic technology and can reproduce asexually. Angel Ling raised her eyebrows and glanced at Yu Wushan. She didn't refute. Let's go. Angel Ling looked at the many human souls gathered. Although the souls gathered here were in their own camps, they still protected each other. Angel Ling's voice seemed to have pressed the countdown for this attack in their hearts. The mighty group of humans rushed toward the Nether River waterfall in front of them, not long after. A human figure jumped out of the sea like a flowing star, emitting a dazzling light. When the light got closer, only silver light patterns could be seen flowing on the figure's body. Under the influence of the silver light patterns, the soul body was like an indestructible piece of jade. There was a mysterious charm flowing on it. The human figure flew into the clouds. Within the soul's eyes, countless pointers were reflected, forming countless images that flashed past. Initial wheel soul, success. Wang Feng exhaled softly. My current soul has already surpassed the soul form of most normal life forms in the universe. Conventional means can no longer erase my soul. Even if a universe-level life form makes a move, as long as my soul can enter time, I can easily escape. I won't have to self-destruct like before. He had absorbed the countless essence of time in this world's time river. Wang Feng didn't know what other miraculous uses his initial wheel soul had. After all, he had just deduced it and trained it successfully. No matter how successful he deduced it, he still needed to test it out. Wang Feng's eyes moved. Let's go to the soul-washing ocean first. Oh wait, I didn't expect I've already gone. Chapter 1653. 47 days have passed? Wang Feng looked at the distant sea and sensed the changes in time. His soul could easily sense the changes in every second. The soul cultivation system deduced by the primordial origin was something Wang Feng had never seen before. But it was definitely the most suitable for him. In Wang Feng's line of sight, the scene in front of him was no longer just heaven and earth and the sea. Instead, there were countless shadows. These jumping shadows were the scenes that had once happened here. His soul could not only feel the flow of time, but also see the scenes that had happened in every second. Time reversal. He suddenly disappeared, and his soul escaped into these shadows. He saw many familiar shadows. From Mu Ro, who he first met, to Angel Blade, Scarlet Fox Supreme, and finally Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor and Feather Martial God. As Wang Feng moved forward, he could see very clearly. In the blink of an eye, Wang Feng's soul returned to the air. He muttered, I didn't expect that angel to unite most of the humans and plan to invade the soul-cleansing sea. On the soul-cleansing sea, not to mention the other soul demons, just the Imperial Border Demon God alone is enough to make you suffer. From this world's time, he was able to see everything that happened just now. This was one of the abilities of the primordial soul that Wang Feng knew. He could sense the changes in time with his soul and see everything that had happened in every corner of this world. The more he saw, the longer the time, the greater the consumption of soul energy. In other words, as long as something had happened in this world, it could not be hidden from Wang Feng. Wang Feng felt the strength of his soul at this time. Without thinking too much, he immediately set off for the soul-cleansing sea. Along the way, Wang Feng still felt every corner of this world. All the way to the Styx waterfall, the light and shadows of battles began to appear in the river of time. After all the soul lives led by Angel Ling entered the Styx waterfall, a large number of battles began. In the air, what appeared in front of Wang Feng were countless battle lights and shadows. They were densely packed, like an abstract oil painting. Wang Feng could see every scene clearly, and even the details of the battle. No scene could escape the records of time. He saw that Mu Ro and Shang Jun were already able to defeat those weaker demon souls. Their souls were powerful and full of vitality. They looked more like spirit bodies than pure souls. Above the spiritual body, there were different colored lights flowing within it, representing the cultivation progress of the seven emotions art, the core technique of the seven emotions immortal soul record. It wasn't just Mu Ro and Shang Jun. There were many other humans who also practiced the seven emotions immortal soul record. The two of them must have taught this technique to other humans. He also saw the silhouettes of many cultivators. Back then, Cloudcomb Island had only been the largest group of cultivators in that area. In fact, there were many other cultivators in the human region where Mu Rou was. Wang Feng could even see the incantations these cultivators were using through the flow of time. Using the primordial origin, he could completely deduce them. It could be said to be a wonderful creation. This was a very interesting matter. It wasn't just Mu Rou. There was also Angel Foam, whom he had met before. And the other angels. Finally, Wang Feng sensed a special power from the Captain Cold that Angel Foam had mentioned. That was the power of darkness. To be more precise, it was the aura of darkness. This angeling's wings were different from other angels. It was black. It meant that they had joined the Heavenly Cultivation King's dark sequence and had been bestowed with a symbol of greater power. In the end, Wang Feng also saw the Crimson Fox Supreme. This mysterious ancient life form of the Crimson Deity Celestial Fox Clan almost didn't fight. Or rather, the battle in the Nether River wasn't worth his time. Interestingly, the Crimson Fox Supreme's light and shadow in the long river of the world was very dim. A race that carries the will of the universe, reaching the level of the Crimson Fox Supreme, has already transcended normal time and space. The traces they left in the long river of time are very faint. If they have reached the universe level, their words and actions, if they want to, might not leave any traces in any world. Wang Feng came to this conclusion. However, the soul that Wang Feng cultivated was not the same. Chasing the traces left behind by the light and shadow of time, Wang Feng watched them kill their way into the soul-cleansing sea. A path was forcefully opened in the Nether River. At this time, the path was very difficult. Casualties began to occur in large numbers. This was because the demonic souls in the soul-cleansing sea were all powerhouses among the soul demons when they were alive. The weakest were soul demons who had entered the ranks, and the soul demons who had entered the ranks were all top-notch powerhouses in the ordinary middle and lower worlds when they were alive. Their demonic souls were naturally not weak. From here, the angels and immortal cultivators became the main forces. However, Wang Feng could see that Mu Rou and Shang Jun, as well as the human souls who had cultivated the Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record, were growing rapidly. However, no matter how strong they grew, they could not avoid the demonic souls that were like mountains and seas. A demonic soul rushed towards Mu Rou with a ferocious expression. The demonic claws in his palm were dyed with scarlet flames that seemed to be able to burn souls. With one move, he pierced through Mu Rou's heart and soul. The scarlet flames immediately dyed Mu Rou's entire body. Immediately after, the demonic soul's soul was also pierced through by the light that shot out from Shang Jun's fingertip. But obviously, Mu Rou's injuries were more serious. Wang Feng's expression was solemn as he watched the scenes that happened in the long river of time. Obviously, Mu Rou's soul had been severely injured. This was normal. After all, they were not the main characters of the world. Even if Angel Ling had gathered the combat power of most of the human souls and cultivated the Seven Emotions Immortal Soul Record that Wang Feng had modified and annotated, it was impossible for him to defeat the demonic souls that liked the sea. It was even more impossible for him to not be injured. It wasn't just Mu Rou. Other than the Crimson Fox supremacy, even the angels began to suffer heavy injuries. Half of Angel Mo's wings were gone, and her soul was in an extremely ethereal state. Even the light and shadow in the long river of time were faintly discernible. This meant that she was about to disappear. The great flame Golden Tiger Emperor was even more miserable. In order to save the Feather Martial God, who was not far away, he was attacked by an origin demon. An origin demon was a demonic soul that had already comprehended the origin when it was alive. It had already reached the level of a demon lord or even a demon master when it was alive. No matter how strong the great flame Golden Tiger Emperor's soul was, it could not withstand a single attack. In a soul state, it did not have divine power to use the origin. Even Wang Feng had to use the origin exchange technique to absorb the power of the seawater here and convert it into substantial energy to supply the primordial origin. Only then could it operate for a long time. However, even if these demonic souls could not use the origin, their attacks contained a trace of the profundity of the origin. There were even many demonic souls that possessed powerful soul attack. Moreover, the dark demon realm had unified countless worlds when it was alive. It recorded the civilizations of countless worlds. There were records of these civilizations in their gods' slaying. In other words, whether it was saint spellmasters, immortal cultivators, demon beasts like the great flame golden tiger emperor, or martial gods like the feather martial god who had already stood at the peak of a planet and could step into the starry sky of the universe, they had all been recorded by the dark demon realm. Most of the moves they used could be neutralized. Only the angels and the crimson fox supremacy were better, because it was impossible for the dark demon realm to conquer the angel civilization. Seeing this, Wang Feng knew that he could not continue to watch like this. But something had happened in the long river of time. He wanted to try out the other use of the primordial spirit. Chapter 1654. All the lights and shadows in the river of time were things that had already happened. However, the initial wheel-time soul was a soul that had transcended time. It was a higher level of spiritual body. After cultivating it, it wasn't just for show. Wang Feng returned to the moment when Mu Rou and the others had just entered the soul-cleansing sea. He looked at the devil soul that was about to penetrate Mu Rou's soul. The lights and shadows were illusory and untouchable. At this moment, Wang Feng stretched out his hand and gently blocked it. In an instant, the river of time shook violently as if everything was changing. Countless lights and shadows disappeared in the river of time. Countless streams of light seemed to have been calculated and turned back into those lights and shadows, appearing in the river of time. It really works. Wang Feng slowly retracted his hand and felt a powerful force deep in his soul. It was the karma power of the world. In the river of time, he had used the initial wheel-time soul that he had cultivated to change the situation of Mu Rou's heart being penetrated by the devil soul. This was a terrifying ability. Even a demon god that had comprehended something similar to the origin of time could not do this in this world. However, Wang Feng could. At this moment, he suddenly felt the power of the initial wheel-time soul. However, a huge consumption followed. The price of changing it was to bear the terrifying karma power. However, this karma power was very weak to Wang Feng. To be precise, his soul was too strong now. He had entered the river of time of this world and absorbed the experiences of countless reincarnated souls to cultivate the initial wheel-time soul. That was the essence of the river of time of this world. It only consumed soul energy. Thinking of this, Wang Feng continued to quickly change the other result. In order to reduce the consumption and at the same time avoid more karma power, Wang Feng only changed a large number of casualties, especially those that he knew and were more important. Generally speaking, Wang Feng did not have the intention to change it. If he had the time, Wang Feng would immediately rush over and use the Pangu axe to understand everything. Using the initial wheel-time soul was only suitable when it was too late and irreversible. Especially now that he had just cultivated it, he had to bear too much karma power. Now that he had no way to contact his main body, he could not use the red karmic fire lotus to refine his soul. In the long run, it would hinder his cultivation. Their situation doesn't look good. Wang Feng looked around and saw countless shadows of demonic souls rising from the sea as far as he could see, forming an encirclement. This meant that Mu Rou and the others had already been surrounded. Soul-cleansing sea. After entering the region of the soul-cleansing ocean, one could basically see the huge layer of clouds looming in the center, and the water gushing from below the clouds. At this moment, on an isolated island not far away from where he could clearly see the clouds in the center, The isolated island was slightly gloomy, as if it was shrouded in gloomy clouds. There were less than 10 angels in the sky, standing guard in the surroundings. At this moment, the scattered human souls were entrenched on the highest cliff of the isolated island. Captain Ling said that the well of samsara might be in the middle of the clouds. Shang Jun looked exhausted as she spoke softly to Mu Ro, who was lying on top of her and on the verge of death. Is that so? That's great. Mu Ro forced a smile, but her soul spirit grew dimmer. We're about to succeed, but I might not be able to go to the well of reincarnation with you. Yes. Shang Jun's tone carried a hint of stubbornness. I'll take you there, along with other human compatriots. Mu Ro smiled. She glanced at Shang Jun from the corner of her eyes and said, Shang Jun, while you're still here, sing a requiem song for me. Not just me, but them too. Mu Ro stretched out her finger and pointed at the other souls in the distance. Their souls were extremely dim and close to disappearing. There were angels, demonic beasts, and martial artists. No, Shang Jun said. Mu Ro shook her head helplessly. She looked around. The closer they were to the clouds in the center of the soul-cleansing ocean, the brighter the sky became. It was the light of hope, the light of reincarnation. Under this light, Mu Ro's soul became more and more transparent. Shang Jun felt her eyes sting, but she couldn't shed any tears. She knew that her eyes didn't count. In her soul state, she didn't feel any pain. After a while, sing a song, Mu Ro said again. Okay, Shang Jun finally answered. The solemn lyrics were accompanied by a heavy melody, as if it wanted to take these souls to another world. Shang Jun finished singing a song in just a few minutes. Finally, she couldn't hold it in anymore. She knew that Mu Ro had already disappeared. There were no tears, but she couldn't hold back her crying. After crying for a long time, Shang Jun suddenly heard a sentence. Shang Jun. I haven't disappeared yet. You don't have to cry. The crying stopped abruptly. Shang Jun was stunned. She looked at Mu Ro in her arms again. She saw that Mu Ro's soul, which was gradually becoming transparent, had solidified. This meant that not only did she not die, but her injuries had also healed. You, Shang Jun looked at her in shock. Mu Ro was also a little confused. What's going on? Shang Jun suspected that she was dreaming. But how could a soul be dreaming? She examined Mu Ro a few times and found that she was indeed not injured. This is impossible, Shang Jun blurted out. Mu Ro stood up and looked at herself, who was unharmed. She couldn't help but wonder if she was the main character of this world. She didn't die? But how did she survive? She had clearly suffered such heavy injuries. Soon, she no longer had this doubt. Because she saw that many souls that should have disappeared had all returned to their original states. They returned to their original states without any reason. Along the way, many of those angels had died. Those demon beasts had even lost a beast emperor. But it seemed that most of them had returned to their original states. Let's go and ask. Shang Jun said in a low voice, It's too strange. Along the way, they knew that the most powerful one wasn't Captain Ling among the angels. It was the Crimson Fox supremacy among the demon beasts. Not only was he powerful, but he was also the most knowledgeable. For creatures of their level, he knew a thing or two about everything. Thinking of this, they immediately walked to where the Crimson Fox supremacy was. There weren't many left who could reach this cliff. The number of souls added up was less than 100. Compared to the number of souls gathered at the Nether River waterfall, it might not even be 1%. As for those ordinary human souls, they were placed on the various small islands in the Nether River. When they came, the Crimson Fox supremacy was also surrounded by many souls. The most eye-catching one was the Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor. Thinking about it, Mu Ro still admired this demon beast. He was seriously injured by an origin demon while protecting martial god Yu. She was very impressed that there could be such love between humans and beasts, and it was even love in the soul state. In the soul state, Most souls' desire to live was only to reincarnate. Everything else was illusory and illusory. Crimson Fox Supremacy, what's going on with me? The Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor asked with a pair of tiger eyes. Logically speaking, my soul should have disappeared, right? Why am I fine now? I can't feel any damage to my soul at all, as if it never happened. You have lived the longest, and you have also stayed here the longest. You know more than us. The Crimson Fox Supremacy didn't say anything. On the other side, Angel Lung also looked on with some surprise and uncertainty. The souls of several angels in the angel faction should have dissipated by now. But now or it was suddenly fine. It was fine without any warning. She couldn't understand it either. The Crimson Fox Supremacy raised his head. He first glanced at the central cloud layer in the distance and slowly said, "An almighty person changed the rules of time and changed everything that should have happened. So you are fine." The moment he said this, everyone was stunned. "Senior Crimson Fox Supremacy, what do you mean?" Mu Ro walked forward and asked with a puzzled expression, "Change what rules of time?" The Crimson Fox Supremacy glanced at her and said, "Simply put, for example, if you go back in time and kill the demonic soul that severely injured you before it hits you, then you won't be seriously injured. Time is the rules of the world. As long as the rules are changed, it will naturally be possible to save you who should have disappeared. But who will save us?" The Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor frowned and said, "No, who has this ability? To be able to change the rules of time in this world, can you do it?" "I can't do it. If I could do it, I would have left this world long ago." The Crimson Fox Supremacy closed his eyes. "Then it must be a universe almighty who has reached another level. Not everyone can change the rules of time in this world. Not everyone can withstand the karma power from the universe after changing the rules of time. That is a power that can easily destroy any life. Everything in the universe has a destiny. If you want to change the destiny that has already happened, you have to bear the crushing of the karma will of the universe." When everyone heard this, their hearts were heavy. "What will happen to this Almighty who saved us?" Mu Ro asked nervously. Wang Outyan's figure subconsciously appeared in her heart. Could it be this senior? If it's light, it will be a backlash to his cultivation. If it's heavy, his soul will be annihilated. The Crimson Fox Supremacy said. It looked at these souls and said in its heart, "In the universe, even universe-level life forms, even if they have this ability, would not easily change the rules. Because of this, their initial wheel cataclysm would be aggravated, and there would be countless variables. Why do you dare to do this?" The Crimson Fox Supremacy did not know who it was and was somewhat impressed. "I feel that you don't need to care about this now." The Crimson Fox Supremacy suddenly pointed into the distance. "It's best to think about how to deal with the demonic soul of a demonic god." Hearing this, everyone subconsciously looked over. A dark light shrouded their souls at this moment. It was a demonic soul that emitted an indomitable aura that was majestic and huge. His demonic aura was enough to make all the souls unable to resist. This was the demonic soul of a true demonic god. A familiar aura. "Frontier demonic god, we are going to meet again." Wang Feng, who was still on the road, squinted his eyes as he looked at the demonic figure in the distance. His eyes glowed as though he had seen a treasure. End of this chapter. Chapter 1655. A Demon God. A demon god with a complete demon soul. At this moment, everyone on the isolated island watched with wide eyes. Even if it was just a strand of demonic thought from a fiend celestial, they had seen it before. But now it was a complete demon god. The pressure of the life rating made their souls feel like drowning people in the sea. Even breathing was difficult, and this would also be the biggest obstacle to their journey. At this moment, in front of the mountain-like demon god, the clouds in the distance seemed close, but they were like a natural moat that cut off all hope. A mere demon god, as the leader of the angel faction, Tianling's eyes were cold. The long sword in her hand pulsed with a powerful energy wave. But the angel next to him lightly held his shoulder. Leader, it's useless to rely on yourself at this time, Tianling said in a low voice. Maybe we can only survive if we work together. That's right. The Grand Flame Golden Tiger Emperor stood up. His body was similar to the Imperial Border Demon God in the distance. He felt that his soul was intact, but he was not afraid. At a time like this, we can only work together and defeat this demon god. Only then will we have a chance to enter the reincarnation well. As long as the demon god is defeated, the other demon souls will be in chaos. These demon souls are not as united as we thought. Otherwise, they would have come to kill us when we were still in the Nether River. They wouldn't have waited for us to enter the soul-cleansing ocean. Yu Wuxian nodded slightly. That made sense. You can't defeat him. At this moment, Red Fox Supremacy said slowly. He looked around and said, We can't defeat him even if we work together. You underestimate the soul demons. These demon souls may not be united, but they are strong enough. They have been secretly surrounding us since we entered the soul-cleansing ocean. Supremacy Crimson Fox paused for a moment and looked at Imperial Border Demon God in the distance. If this demon god has no other purpose, then there is only one possibility. He just wants to play with us. Otherwise, he would have killed us himself. Why would he let us come to this island, only one step away from the reincarnation well? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Red Fox Supremacy lowered his head. But there is still a chance. What opportunity? Mu-Ro asked subconsciously. As soon as he finished speaking, the angel coldly snorted and flew up. On Sky Heart Island, I won't have the chance to exchange blows with emotion. I want to see just how strong these dark devil world's fiend gods are. In the Galactic War, they were nothing but cowards. In front of Heaven Cultivation King, not a single fiend god dared to come forward. His disdain was mixed with a bit of cold arrogance. She turned into a streak of white light and attacked the demonic figure. In the distance, who can tell me what's going on? This sovereign wants you to stop them midway. While you deal with some of them, let them pass. Why are most of these souls still intact? The Imperial Border Demon God looked at both sides with great dignity. Around him stood dozens of Origin's fiends. Hey Wu, didn't you report to me that you killed a beast emperor of the demonic beasts? Why don't I see anyone injured? Imperial Border Demon God was extremely angry. What, could it be that you can't deal with these few souls? The surrounding demonic souls were silent, not daring to speak. Imperial Border Demon God, I suspect that someone tampered with the time law of this world and changed the trajectory of some souls that have yet to disappear. Otherwise, with my understanding of the other party and myself, that beast emperor would have died without a doubt. How can it still be fine? The demonic soul called Hei Wu couldn't help but explain. Nonsense. Tampering with the time law of this world? Who has the ability to do that? Imperial Border Demon God pointed at the latter's forehead. You? Hei Wu. Seems like it. Who could do that in this world? At this moment, Imperial Border Demon God's demonic figure moved slightly and sneered. Hei Wu, go and destroy that winged angel. This sovereign will watch with my own eyes. I want to see who can tamper with the time law. As he spoke, he waved his hand lightly. A light flew out from his palm and landed on the island, turning into a formless purple-black dome that enveloped the entire island. Yes. Hei Wu flew out. As a demon master when he was alive, he was also overseeing a region and had slaughtered countless supreme powerhouses. Of course, this kind of thing was nothing difficult. The two of them clashed within Imperial Border Demon God's light barrier. The white sword image intertwined with the black demonic figure, forming a moving painting. Intense soul energy fluctuations turned into surging waves as the two of them clashed. However, after a short while, Hei Wu flew back. Many parts of his demonic figure seemed to have been burned, letting out a sizzling sound. It was obvious that he had suffered serious injuries. However, his expression didn't change. "My lord, she was hit by my netherworld divine soul. Her soul will disappear in at most 100 breaths of time," Hei Wu reported. Imperial Border Demon God nodded slightly. He watched from the beginning and didn't make a move. A battle of this level wasn't worthy of him making a move. Perhaps the only one who could make a move himself was that Crimson Divine Skyfox. Not bad. Imperial Border Demon God glanced at him and slowly transmitted his voice. "Crimson Star, I know you are from the Crimson Divine Skyfox clan. Yama Lord has already made me wait here for a long time. To be honest, for your sake, I allowed you to bring these humans into the soul-cleansing ocean and let their souls stay in this world for a while longer. Otherwise, they would have disappeared from the moment they stepped into the soul-cleansing ocean. Now, you should make a choice. Tell me, where did he go after reincarnation? Tell me the Yama Lord's instructions. She can help you remove the curse. Otherwise, this isolated island will be the place where your souls will rest forever." The loud demonic voice echoed throughout the isolated island. Along with it, the angels landed on the edge of the cliff like kites with broken strings. For a moment there was silence. Crimson Fox Supreme lowered his head slightly. "Captain." A group of angels surrounded him, their expressions changed drastically, their eyes filled with sadness. "So strong?" Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor muttered. "They are in their best condition. Even the strongest angel was defeated so easily. How many rounds did it take?" Imperial Border Demon God shook his head slightly and looked at Crimson Fox Supreme. Unexpectedly, the Demon God appeared for Crimson Fox Supreme. "I don't know." Crimson Fox Supreme shook his head. "Please thank the Yama Lord for me. I don't want my curse to be removed. As for where he went after reincarnation, sorry, I really don't know. If I knew, I would have gone to find him long ago. Because I don't know, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. There's no hope. So I don't want to be reincarnated." Imperial Demon God looked at Crimson Fox Supreme. His eyes were calm, without any extra expression. At this time, he knew that the other party couldn't hide anything from him. Imperial Demon God closed his eyes, looked at the isolated island below, and shook his head. Destroy it. Since there was no possibility, he couldn't be blamed. As soon as he finished speaking, the demonic souls surrounding the isolated island, like heavenly soldiers descending to the mortal world, turned into demonic shadows that covered the clouds and the sun, and attacked the isolated island below. Under the countless demonic shadows, Mu Ro and the others saw the cloud layer that represented the entrance to the reincarnation well. It disappeared in an instant. It was dark. Suffocation. At this moment, a majestic voice, like a long howl in the forest, came from afar. "Imperial Demon God, you were a demon god when you were alive. Why did you become the watchdog of the reincarnation, well, after I killed you? Where's your dignity as a demon god?" As the voice sounded, a dazzling light broke through the darkness and traversed the sky. Chapter 1656. That dazzling and familiar axe light tore through everything. It drew a faint light mark in the sky and did not disappear for a long time. The devil souls that came into contact with this light mark were instantly vaporized. For a moment, the devil souls that were about to swarm over were scared out of their wits. Like birds that were startled by the twang of a bough, they immediately scattered. As the intense light disappeared, a figure slowly appeared in front of countless people. It was a figure that gave people a mysterious feeling just by looking at it. However, in the eyes of Mu Ro and the others, it was very familiar. "It's Senior Wang." Mu Ro covered her mouth in shock. "But why does it feel like something is wrong? It's obviously different from the Senior Wang that I met before." Yes, the change was too big. In terms of appearance, there was not much change. However, The aura emitted from his body was completely different from the ordinary and weak soul from before. In simple words, in the eyes of Mu Ro and the others, the aura of the figure in front of them was too mysterious. At first glance, they knew that it was definitely not simple. When Senior left, he said that he would come to the soul-cleansing sea alone. I didn't expect him to be behind us, the great flame golden tiger emperor said in shock. I have been in the soul-cleansing sea for so long, but I didn't sense Senior's figure. I thought he was joking. I didn't expect it to be true. He didn't agree to our proposal before, but he still appeared now. Martial God, you thought for a moment. It seems that this Senior is bound to the human race. But now we've all become burdens and we're all dead. I wonder. She looked at Red Fox Supremacy. However, she found that Red Fox Supremacy had already sat down and only glanced at Angeling. It was completely different from the solemn look from before. It was as if he already knew. Little angel, you are so lucky. It seems that he is really fated to be with you angels. That's true. After all, that thread of love. Red Fox Supremacy smiled faintly. Angeling looked at her weakly, then turned to look at Angel Mo, who was in a daze, and asked, Little Mo, he should be the human you saw that day, the one who split Sky Heart Island and destroyed the demon god's remnant consciousness, right? Angel Mo came back to her senses and nodded. It's him, but it doesn't feel like it's him. Angeling frowned. What do you mean? Angel Foam thought for a moment and said, When I saw him that day, although his soul looked handsome and perfect, his aura was very ordinary. He was just an ordinary human. But now, this soul is emitting a mysterious feeling as if it is one with the world, the angel said coldly. That's right. Angel Foam nodded again. Can he defeat the demon god? The angel muttered coldly. With that thought in mind, she looked at the distant frontier fiend god who had already turned and left. When she looked over, she seemed to have discovered a blind spot. Wait a minute. He said that he was the one who killed this god fiend? In the clouds, Imperial Border Devil God, who had already turned around and was about to leave, froze in place. He turned around and looked at the figure that he had long imprinted in the depths of his soul. His eyes burned with a raging flame. You're finally here. Imperial Border Demon God calmed the many emotions in his soul. Human, you came a little late. Why, it seems like you wasted a lot of effort on Huang Hai. It's all right. Wang Feng smiled and said, after all, he was divided into 6 parts and had to run around. It was quite troublesome. But you're different. You're complete. It shouldn't take much effort. Imperial Border Demon God. Are you King looking down on me? My lord, this human is still looking down on you. A demonic soul beside him immediately said, He might not realize that he's now in our territory. I don't need you to say that. Imperial Border Demon God coldly glanced at this demonic soul. Human, you tricked me back then. I was careless and was hidden in another world by you. But do you think that you can still be the same as before? Imperial Border Demon God said coldly, You don't even have a helper by your side now. Why, did you become a little arrogant after absorbing Huang Hai's demonic consciousness? Yes, I'm a little arrogant. Wang Feng nodded. Then, the Pangu axe condensed in his hand. He pondered and said, I wonder how many axes you can take now? Imperial Border Demon God opened his eyes wide and looked at the axe. Back then, he had been killed by this axe. It was still fresh in his memory. Inexplicably, his demonic figure trembled slightly and disappeared in an instant. His soul has become stronger again. Imperial Border Demon God thought. From that axe, he knew that the other party must have become stronger. No matter what soul aura it was, just the pressure from that axe alone was enough to make the entire soul-cleansing ocean unable to resist. If he was not wrong, the familiar light pillar that he saw earlier must be this human. Thinking about it, it made sense. Other than this human who could make Yama wait here, who else could be so special? Just as he was thinking, an earth-shattering axe light came, as if it could split the universe. Imperial Border Demon God's soul shook violently. His soul energy surged wildly and formed tens of thousands of layers of shields around him. The shields were entwined with the power of the origin and emitted an extremely strong power. It was as if even the collapse of heaven and earth could not hurt him at all. However, under this axe, the layers of origin energy barriers were instantly turned into nothingness and disappeared without a trace. Imperial Border Demon God's expression changed drastically and he was shocked. The power of the other party's axe seemed to be much stronger than before. Even if he was only in his soul state now. At this moment, Imperial Border Demon God did not even have the will to resist. It was as if the moment the axe light came down, all his will was destroyed. In the blink of an eye, a shadow appeared behind the Imperial Border Demon God. The shadow's appearance could not be seen, but it was vaguely a human figure. The shadow stretched out his hand slightly and caught Wang Feng's axe. Wang Feng was slightly stunned. Logically speaking, he would not come to the soul-cleansing ocean to look for Imperial Border Demon God if he was not 100% confident. With this axe, Imperial Border Demon God's demonic soul was not far from disappearing. With Imperial Border Demon God's strength, even if he had cultivated his soul in this world, he would not be able to block it even if he used all his means. This was the Pangu axe that was already 30% repaired. In addition, his soul was extremely powerful now. With this axe, he had fused with the initial wheel soul and locked on from all angles. He did not even have the chance to search for treasures. However, he did not expect that the shadow would be able to block this axe. Suddenly, the shadow that came out of the Imperial Border Devil God's soul disappeared immediately after receiving the axe. It was like some kind of life-saving talisman. However, Wang Feng knew that the shadow was definitely not simple, because when the shadow received the axe, it was clearly looking at him, as if it was thinking about something. Imperial Border Demon God, you are very lucky. Wang Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at Imperial Border Demon God, who had survived a great disaster, and had a somewhat gloomy expression. What is that shadow? I can save you once, but I can't save you a second time. Save me. Imperial Border Demon God's expression was very strange as he revealed a sneer. Then, he said indifferently, I know what you want to do. You want to devour my demonic soul, right? And then enter the reincarnation well? Unfortunately, I don't want to do as you wish. Imperial Border Demon God laughed out loud. That bastard Huang Hai instigated me back then. If it was not because I was afraid back then, I might have already entered the reincarnation well. I don't want to be a pawn anymore. Imperial Border Demon God suddenly laughed wildly. In the intense laughter, his demonic soul was disappearing at an extremely fast speed. It was not a self-explosion, nor was it an attack. Instead, it disappeared directly. It was equivalent to disintegrating and dissipating between heaven and earth. Wang Feng frowned and was stunned for a long time. Chapter 1657. Wang Feng had thought of many possibilities. However, he had never thought of the current situation. The Imperial Demon God's self-disintegration had caused a huge amount of soul energy to flow into the entire soul-cleansing sea in an instant. He would not even have a chance to reincarnate. Is it necessary to go to this extent just to avoid being killed by me? You have a backbone. Wang Fengxin was silent. When he saw the shadow earlier, Wang Feng thought that it would take some effort to kill the Imperial Demon God. However, he did not expect that the Imperial Demon God, who could still fight, would die just like that. Wang Feng looked at the Pangu axe in his hand. A chess piece? Whose chess piece? For a moment, several figures appeared in Wang Feng's mind. It could only be the Hell Lord. Many thoughts flooded into his mind. As the imperial demon god died, the remaining demon god's soul scattered. Obviously, he did not intend to resist. This is troublesome. Wang Feng weighed the penguax. The imperial demon god's soul returned to heaven and earth. Countless soul energy flowed into the soul-cleansing sea. He did not have time to absorb it with his origin. If he wanted to absorb it all, it would take a long time. How interesting! Before that illusory figure saved him, Frontier Imperial Devil God still had some fighting spirit. Wang Feng closed his eyes. However, his axe strike was blocked by the phantom, which could be considered to have saved the Frontier Protector Demon God. However, after being saved, he wanted to self-disintegrate. Humans could not understand the thoughts and actions of a demon god. Wang Feng vaguely guessed something, but he was not sure. However, now that there was one less demon god, the recovery speed of the Pangu Axe martial soul would be greatly reduced. Plans can never keep up with changes. Wang Feng shook his head. It seemed that he could only stay in the soul-cleansing sea for a few more days while the imperial demon god's soul energy was still abundant in the soul-cleansing sea. He would absorb as much as he could. Thinking of this, Wang Feng turned around and flew toward the island below. Everyone, the reincarnation well is up ahead. Get ready and enter. Wang Feng revealed a smile and looked at the crowd. That devil god has already disappeared. The people on the island were still in a daze. Most likely, they still hadn't recovered from the previous situation, and only when they heard Wang Feng's voice did they snap out of their daze. The god fiend is gone? The great flame golden tiger emperor rubbed his eyes and walked over. His voice trembled as he asked, "Senior, did you do that?" "It's not me." Wang Feng pondered for a moment before saying, "It's that demon god soul that dissipated by itself. I didn't have the time to do anything." At this point, Wang Feng's expression was somewhat regretful. Why would a dignified demon god's soul disintegrate and disappear for no reason? Angel Lung struggled to stand up. "Although my soul was heavily injured, I am not blind. I saw it clearly. It was you, Xie Qianren." Wang Feng was taken aback. The battle just now happened in the blink of an eye. No matter if it was the axe light that he brandished or the shadow behind the imperial border demon god, to them, they might not have been able to see clearly. As for what the imperial border devil god said, they couldn't understand it at all. It was the ancient devil language. "I got it!" The great flame golden tiger emperor said excitedly. "I think the demon god must have lost all his fighting spirit after seeing you, Senior. He didn't want to be humiliated by you again, so he decided to destroy his soul to die a more dignified death." Senior is truly amazing. Wang Feng. When he heard it, Wang Feng felt that the great flame golden tiger emperor was overthinking. When he thought about it carefully, he suddenly thought of a sentence that might be very accurate. He wanted to die a more dignified death. Wang Fengxin's heart jumped. However, the imperial border devil god wasn't afraid of being humiliated by him. He was unwilling to be manipulated like a chess piece. At the same time, he didn't want to be absorbed by the Pangu Act. The demon god of the dark devil world isn't that weak. Angel Ling didn't believe it. She looked at Wang Feng and sized him up for a long time. The more she looked, the more she felt that she had seen him somewhere before. Especially the back view just now. "Captain, isn't this the man in the painting in Tianxiu Monarch's room?" At this moment, an angel walked out and whispered, "When you brought me to report the situation of the southern galaxy to Tianxiu Monarch happened to be recuperating in a certain world. Then, in that world, I saw a painting. There was a man in the painting. There was only a back view and a side profile. How long ago was that?" Angel Lung thought for a long time and vaguely remembered. "About 3,000 years ago." "So, he's related to Tianxiu Monarch?" Angel Lung asked. "Of course." The angel whispered, "Although I've only seen him once, I have a feeling that the man in the painting definitely has a very special relationship with Tian Xiu Monarch. This is the only time I've seen a man beside Tian Xiu Monarch in so many years, although it was only in the painting. I've never seen him in any world. I didn't expect him to be here. No wonder he asked little Emo so much about Tian Xiu Monarch. Existing in the form of a painting. Could it be that Tian Xiu Monarch knew that he was dead and used it as a memorial? Angel Ling shook her head. After all, he's already dead. Now it's his soul. My intuition tells me that it's not just a memorial. Go, go, go. Angel Ling sent the angel away and looked at Wang Feng again. No wonder it felt familiar. The angel's memory wouldn't disappear. At most, it would be too long. Some of the memories would be sealed, and she wouldn't be able to recall them for a while. After all, they weren't machines. In addition, after staying in this world for a long time, as the soul slowly weakened, some of the memories would also slowly disappear. Prepare yourselves. If you want to go to the well of reincarnation, hold on for now. Wang Feng heard the two's mutterings and smiled in his heart. What about you, Master? Mu Rou and Shang Jun walked over. Aren't you coming with us? I still need to stay in this place for a while. Moreover, there's a large number of souls in the Netherworld River. I can guard this place. It can be considered as letting you enter safely. The self-destruction of the Imperial Border Devil God disrupted Wang Feng's plan. He still needed to repair the Pangu Axe martial soul here. Go, bring your clansmen. Wang Feng waved his hand at them. There's no need to delay in this world. Every moment we delay, there might be changes that even I can't predict. Mu Rou and Shang Jun had a lot of things to say, but at this moment, the bigger picture was more important. They immediately returned to the Netherworld River with their companions and led the large group into the Well of Reincarnation. Wang Feng finally walked towards the Scarlet Fox Supreme. After not seeing you for a few months, your soul has already cultivated to the point where even I can't understand it. The Scarlet Fox Supreme stood up. Her tone was filled with amazement, emotion, and doubt. It's okay. It's just the beginning. Wang Feng shook his head. Do you still plan to stay in this world? I think, with the abilities of your clan, it shouldn't be difficult for you to reincarnate into the Scarlet Divine Celestial Fox clan. The reincarnation of this world can't trap you at all. The Scarlet Fox Supreme shook her head slightly and said, As long as the curse doesn't disappear, it doesn't matter to me whether I reincarnate or not. Can the Lord of Hell really remove your curse? Wang Feng suddenly asked. The Scarlet Fox Supreme looked at him in surprise. He didn't seem to have arrived just now. The Scarlet Fox Supreme seemed to have thought of something and said in realization, I see. The one who saved those children just now should be him, right? Is it the ability of your soul? Speaking of this, she paused for a moment. You can change the laws of time in this world? It can be changed in a short period of time. If too much time has passed, it can't be changed. Wang Feng didn't deny it. If too much time had passed, once it was changed, it would involve more changes in karma. His soul would also have to bear more karmic karma. For example, Wang Feng could find the location where the demonic god of desolation encountered the Lord of Hell in the river of time and then stop him. But even so, the demonic god of desolation wouldn't be revived. At the same time, the karma of heaven and earth would change greatly. His own soul would be greatly affected. Chapter 1658. The Origin Wheel Soul's ability to change the laws of time could not be used casually. Otherwise, it could easily cause a huge change. However, it could definitely be used as a killing move. When I saw you before, your soul was very weak, but now, there's an indescribable mystery. You must have cultivated a special soul body. Scarlet Fox Supreme said slowly, You can even change the laws of time in the soul world and forcefully reverse what will happen. I'm afraid this soul body has already touched upon the karma origin of the universe. Among all the known wills of the universe, do you know which one belongs to the karma origin of the universe? Wang Feng knew that the wills of the universe were the power that the universe-level life forms would control. Every kind contained countless origins. However, from what Scarlet Fox Supreme said, there were differences in strength. What wills? Fate is the will of the universe's fate. It's the most mysterious and powerful universe's will in the universe and can change everything. According to the records of my race, among the 1008 wills of the universe, the will of fate has never been born. It only exists in the legends of the endless origin wheels. Scarlet Fox Supreme said, because there has never been any life form that could touch this universe's will, not even a trace. I didn't touch it either. Wang Feng said. This is just a soul cultivation method that I deduced from the origin. It's light years away from the universe's will. You didn't touch it, but you touched upon the most important origin of the will of fate, the karma origin. Scarlet Fox Supreme said, when your soul body cultivates to great success and grasps the karma origin, it means that you can touch the will of fate. The karma origin itself is a powerful origin that's infinitely close to wills. Because everything in the universe can't escape the changes of karma. There are even many origins that are related to it. Wang Feng waved his hand. It was too mysterious. Speaking of wills, Wang Feng felt that the Pangu Axe martial soul contained a powerful will. Because every time he used it, he could feel a powerful will from the depths of his soul that could split open the chaotic universe. Let's continue chatting. I actually still have many questions about the Scarlet God Fox race. Wang Feng continued. Because he left in a hurry, he wanted to find the demonic consciousness of the desolate sea demon god. Now that he had time, Wang Feng decided to take this opportunity to chat with Scarlet Fox Supreme. At this moment, the other souls also planned to enter through the water channel that connected to the clouds at the center. According to the Crimson Fox Supremacy's explanation, those waterholes were the passages of reincarnation. Once they entered, they would be able to enter the reincarnation well. Reincarnation. However, upon entering, they discovered that all of the water channels had been sealed. It meant that he couldn't get in. There was only one passageway that was open. Thinking about it, what if all of them were connected? Those devil souls had already entered the cycle of reincarnation. Why should he stay in this world? But this water tunnel? However, not a single devil soul was sent in. Naturally, it was strange. The seal must have been left behind by the Yama Lord. Wang Feng didn't know why the Lord of Hell left behind a seal. He sealed all the passageways. That tunnel should lead to the true reincarnation well. The Crimson Fox Supreme pointed at the thickest of the spiral-shaped tunnels. The rest of the tunnels lead to the well of reincarnation. As for that one, it leads to the outside of the samsara well. The reincarnation well is divided into inner and outer parts. Inside is reincarnation. Outside? It was not reincarnation. In the legends of the Dark Demon Realm, the outside of the reincarnation well is the original place of the world, which is also the place of birth. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. His destination? It should be the outside of the reincarnation well, not the inside of the reincarnation well. This water tunnel didn't originally exist, the Crimson Fox Supreme said slowly. Exalted Crimson Fox said unhurriedly, then the Yama Master of the Dark Devil Realm came? He opened a tunnel by force? It was this water tunnel. Those soul demons didn't dare to enter? Because they knew that this water tunnel didn't lead to reincarnation, but to the outside of the reincarnation well. They would only meet the Yama Lord there. Naturally, they wouldn't dare to enter. Wang Feng raised his eyebrows. If your axe can break the seal that sealed the demon god of Desolation Sea, then you can easily break the seals of these water tunnels. The Crimson Fox Supreme looked at Wang Feng. Wang Feng naturally knew this. Following this, Wang Feng split open the seals of these water tunnels one by one, and he watched as the countless human souls majestically entered. Because there were so many of them, it took nearly a month before most of the souls entered the reincarnation well and reincarnated. In the end, only a few were left. Mu Rou and Shang Jun stayed for another month in the name of learning. After that, they were driven away by Wang Feng. For example, Great Flame Golden Tiger Emperor, Martial Godfeather, and the angels. Wang Feng also watched them enter the water tunnel and disappear into the hazy clouds. Life forms at the level of angels were very special. They weren't ordinary angels of the mortal world. They were powerful races that could roam the universe. Not only were their technology extremely advanced, but they also had strong thoughts and belief. Especially when they entered reincarnation as complete souls. This meant that they had a lot of room to maneuver, and they might reincarnate as angels with part of their memories. Several months later, on an isolated island, Wang Feng and the Crimson Fox Supreme sat opposite each other. "When do you plan to leave?" the Crimson Fox Supreme asked. Wang Feng was silent. Over the past few months, he had tried to absorb the soul energy of the soul-cleansing sea and supply it to the Pangu Act. However, he found that the progress was extremely slow. After absorbing the last bit of soul energy of the demon god of Desolation Sea, the recovery of the Pangu Act's martial soul had reached a critical point. Now, the absorption of the soul energy was extremely slow. During this period, Wang Feng also tried to kill a few restless demon souls, but he found that the absorption was also very slow. He guessed that it might be because the soul level was different, causing the soul energy produced to be ineffective for the Pangu Act's martial soul's recovery. Only soul energy that had reached the level of a demon god could be effective in the recovery. This was troublesome. Wang Feng thought that there should be two other demon gods, who were his allies in the desolate sea in this soul world. However, after Wang Feng entered the river of time and searched the entire soul-cleansing sea, he didn't even see the shadows of these two demon gods. This meant that they weren't here. Now, his initial wheel-time soul had been formed. He had absorbed the essence of time in this world to cultivate the initial wheel-time soul. It was impossible for him to continue cultivating his soul in this world. If he wanted to break through the initial wheel-time soul, he could only go to other worlds. There was no progress in the recovery of the Pangu Act's martial soul. In addition, he had already sent away those human souls. He could only go to the reincarnation well first. "Soon," Wang Feng replied. "Go ahead." Supreme Red Fox nodded slightly. Wang Feng stood up and looked at the most special water tunnel. He hadn't cultivated to the ideal level. If he went to the reincarnation well like this, he would have to face King Yen and the system that might uncover the mystery. Wang Fengxin was a little uncertain. Somehow, he had a feeling that something was going to happen. He had a premonition that things had been going smoothly since he entered this soul world. Even the few times he clashed with the demonic god of Desolation Sea were dangerous, but they were nothing. Even Mo Tiance, who Wang Feng was most worried about, didn't come to this world. With Wang Feng's current soul strength, he naturally felt that something was wrong. It was as if there was a big hand behind him that was controlling everything. The owner of this big hand might not be King Yen. Wang Feng stood up and bade farewell to Supreme Red Fox. Then, he flew to the most special water tunnel in front. At this moment, he vaguely heard Supreme Red Fox's voice. "Do you still remember what I said when we first met? Don't forget it." Wang Feng thought for a while. The moment he stepped into the water tunnel, he remembered. When they first met, Supreme Red Fox was talking about love tribulation. Chapter 1659. Douluo Planet. Great Star Do Forest. Bibidon walked in this ancient forest. A figure walked over leisurely. The fine sunlight shone through the dense branches and leaves and shone on this figure. It was a woman. She was wearing a black skirt-style armor. Her figure was perfect and tall, and her long golden hair swayed slightly in the breeze. Looking from the bottom to the top, one could only feel a majestic and boundless aura. Above her snow-white neck was an exquisite face. Her eyes were pitch black, and when they opened and closed gently, there was a languid feeling that spread out from within with her light and graceful steps. However, the forest was silent, and the rich life aura made the soul beasts in the forest seem very peaceful. Most of the soul beasts glanced at this human from afar, but they didn't attack. There was only curiosity in their eyes. The air distorted slightly, and a figure suddenly walked over from the distorted space. She half knelt on the ground and said, "King, we just discovered this world. We just happened to discover this world. We thought it was just a low-level civilization. We wanted to observe more before reporting to you. I didn't expect you to be here so soon. This world seems to be much stronger than we imagined. I just scanned the surrounding 1,500 kilometers. Many life fluctuations are very powerful. There are even 1 or 2 high-level angels comparable to my race." The figure had a pair of pure white wings behind her back. They trembled slightly, and her tone was filled with extreme reverence. "I didn't expect it either," the woman said. She paused for a moment and continued leisurely, "I didn't expect my hometown to change so much." The silhouette was shocked. "Hometown? King, how can this be your hometown? You are our Angel Nebula." The woman waved her hand and said, "Before I was born in the Angel Nebula, I was a human in this world. However, due to some reasons, and because I have a great relationship with angels, I was born in the Angel Nebula. Forget it. Although I didn't tell you about these things, they exist. Get up, you." Angel Yu, who had a pair of pure white wings behind her, slowly stood up. Although she couldn't digest her king's words for the time being, she had already remembered it in her heart. "My story in this world," the woman smiled. "It's also deeply engraved in my memory. Is it more powerful than the dark order you established in our universe?" Angel Yu followed behind the woman and asked softly. "Of course not." The woman walked forward slowly. She looked at the 5 collapsed mountains in the distance, and a glimmer of light flashed in the depths of her eyes. "That's true." Angel Yu thought for a moment and said, "I just inquired about the history of this world. Of course, I didn't use my race's angel inspiration." He had asked around personally. Speaking of which, this world was very special. This was a world where soul beasts and humans coexisted. Originally, according to this common method of 2 life forms dominating a planet, both sides should be competing. In fact, more than 10,000 years ago, humans hunted soul beasts to cultivate themselves. The enmity between the two is as deep as the ocean. However, a few hundred years ago, a revolution occurred in this world. From hunting soul beasts to coexisting with soul beasts, it had changed. Those human cultivators had also changed from titled Douluo to soul charmers. After the revolution, the world underwent another drastic change. It should have been a low-level civilization. Normally speaking, a planet where humans have only appeared for tens of thousands of years would only produce a low-level civilization. However, following the revolution of soul charmers, the energy of the entire world changed. It was even more exaggerated than the changes of those exhausted planets due to the recovery of spiritual energy. In this change, the cultivation system of humans and soul beasts also underwent a huge change. The strongest humans in this world are no weaker than the 3rd-generation divine body warriors of our Angel Nebula. However, there are very few of them, only a few. As Angel Yu said this, her body trembled. But think about it, the energy of this world has only changed for a few hundred years, and the humans already have such experts. The future is even more predictable. Furthermore, their soul tool technology has also reached the level of a second-class civilization, and they began to step into the universe 100 years ago. That's right. That's why I didn't expect my hometown to change so much. This place already has the appearance of the divine realm. The woman's tone carried a hint of reminiscence. Divine realm? Angel Yu tilted her head. An ancient civilization that used to be very powerful. However, because it was too ancient, it might have been eliminated. The woman thought for a moment and replied, "But I feel that this world has a lot of potential." Angel Yu looked around. She realized that there was a very cute soul beast looking at her from afar, its lively eyes blinking. Angel Yu waved her hand in a friendly manner and said with a smile, "Because this is equivalent to a newborn world, it naturally has potential. The vitality of life and the evolution of the system are all new, so the potential is naturally very big." The woman replied, "I heard that such a huge change in the world seems to be because of a star battle god mountain in this forest." Angel Yu looked ahead. Caused such a huge change in the world. Angel Yu waved at the little white fox. Woo! The little white fox hopped over. It first circled around Angel Yu twice, then nimbly jumped onto Angel Yu's body. Angel Yu stuck out her tongue. She probably felt that she couldn't be frivolous in front of the queen, so she quickly put the little fox down. "It's not because of a mountain," the woman snorted. "A mountain is just an inanimate object. You're saying that it's the life in the universe? The one that changed this world? To have the ability to change a low-level civilization to such an extent in just over 100 years, that would also be a powerful high-dimensional life." Angel Yu was a little surprised, but thinking about the existence of the queen, she was relieved again. "In that case, we're considered to have rashly barged into another territory?" Angel Yu adhered to the fine tradition of the Angel Nebula, and continued with order and humility, "Should we pay a visit?" "Of course." The woman pointed in front, and some memories appeared in her eyes. The expression on her face was slightly excited, and there was a hint of redness. Angel Yu was shocked. The queen's expression didn't belong to the kind of homesickness that humans had. Instead, it was like the expression of lovers and partners who hadn't seen each other for a long time on the blue planet. Otherwise, why would she blush? "Hey!" The woman waved her hand, calmed herself down, and walked towards the broken divine mountain in front of her. However, the more she walked, the more she frowned. "Queen, it seems that the divine mountain has long been broken." Angel Yu could already see the full appearance of the divine mountain. "I know it's broken," the woman said slowly. "It's just that it's broken. But I can't feel the aura." "Aura?" Angel Yu was stunned. "There's not much aura of life near the divine mountain. It doesn't seem like there's an expert living here. I heard that a few years ago a huge change happened here. The original star battle divine mountain was broken. Could it be that the other party has already left? A few years ago, even if it was a few years ago, his aura wouldn't have disappeared so quickly. Even if he left, I can still feel his aura. Then, according to the aura, I can find the detailed location." The woman frowned and entered the interior of the divine mountain. She didn't see the figure, nor did she feel the aura. It was as if nothing had happened. Chapter 1660. Of course, the woman knew that this sacred mountain was broken a few years ago. The man inside must have left long ago. But that stinky man sealed himself in the sacred mountain and changed the world. Even if the sacred mountain was broken, there must be his aura. Through the aura, the woman could roughly lock the other party's position. This way, she knew what was going on. But unexpectedly, there wasn't even a trace of aura. "Something's wrong," the woman said in a deep voice. At this time, Angel Yu suddenly said loudly, "My king, look here. There seems to be a tombstone here." The woman was stunned and immediately walked over. In the center of the sacred mountain there was a tombstone. On it was written, "Ancestor of Soul Contractors, Wang Feng's tomb." Seeing this tombstone, the woman was stunned for a long time. Angel Yu opened her mouth, My king, could it be that the other party has already passed away? No, how could such a high-dimensional being die? It doesn't seem impossible. Even Queen Keisha can. She quickly covered her mouth. The universe is so big, nothing is impossible. It seems to be true. Angel, you looked carefully. There are also the life stories of this ancestor of soul contractors. It turns out that the soul contractors of this world were also created by him. What a pity! At this time, the woman suddenly waved her hand and waved it toward the tombstone. In an instant, the tombstone was torn apart and shattered into pieces. Angel Yu, the king is angry. How angry? Angel Yu thought of the 1,000 years she followed the king in the universe. She had never seen the king so angry. Even when she returned to the Angel Nebula and saw Hua Yi and the others of the old celestial palace wantonly destroying the Angel Nebula, she wasn't this angry. At this time, suddenly, an angry shout came from afar. Who are you? Why did you destroy my master's tombstone? The woman turned around with a sullen face. She just happened to see a man and a woman standing outside. These two people exuded an extremely powerful aura. Especially at this moment, it seemed that because of the destruction of the tombstone, they were even more furious. Their faces were full of anger. At their feet, there was also a little white fox that was surrounding Angel Yu before. Oh, it's this little thing that leaked the news. Angel Yu gently patted her head. This little fox belongs to these two humans. My king, these two people should be the strongest humans in this world. Your Majesty, please leave first. I want to compete with them. In fact, Angel Yu felt that this was the first time the king was so irrational. After all, he was destroying someone else's tombstone on someone else's land. To humans, this was a great disrespect. It was no wonder that the other party was angry. Judging from the voice, the owner of the tombstone was their master. This was even more incredible. However, the Lord was a good person. Therefore, even if the Lord did this, Angel Yu felt that he had his reasons. The woman gently waved her hand and stopped Angel Yu from speaking. She walked over and looked at the two people. I'm asking you a question, Wang Dong said angrily. She and Huoyu Hao were here today to pay respects to their teacher, and also to walk this little fox. He didn't expect to see such a situation. The owner of this tombstone is your master? The woman asked. Where is he? Wang Dong was stunned. His face turned cold, and his soul ring faintly appeared on his body. The light of several soul beasts appeared on his rainbow-colored soul ring, and they emitted an extremely powerful aura. Huoyu Hao stepped forward and placed his hand in front of Wang Dong. He lowered his voice and asked, You're not a human from this world? Teacher has already passed away. If you're here to seek revenge, we'll welcome you. However, you shouldn't have destroyed Teacher's tombstone. Passed away? The woman said indifferently, He will die? With his strength, even if this world is destroyed, he won't die. Where is he? Hearing this, Huoyu Hao and Wang Dong looked at each other and were slightly puzzled. Her tone didn't sound like an enemy. Furthermore, she seemed to know their teacher quite well. Furthermore, the divine mountain cracked, which means that his strength has improved. The woman said coldly, He can easily destroy this world with a flick of his finger. Will he die? You don't have to hide it. I know that he deliberately left this behind to confuse the future generations. Tell me, where the hell is he? Where did he go? Did he go to the God realm? The woman's voice changed. Huoyu Hao and Wang Dong's expressions changed. They both felt a strong pressure coming towards them. They were shocked. With their strength, they had already broken through the peak of rank 100 hundreds of years ago. Furthermore, as the Douluo world slowly changed, they continuously broke through rank 120 and were close to rank 130. In this world, they were the strongest soul charmers. No, according to the standards of the God realm, they would have become gods long ago. However, the Douluo world was completely different from the God realm system, and they weren't gods. It was rare for someone to give them such a strong pressure. But teacher has indeed passed away. Huoyu Hao answered seriously, "You're right. A few years ago, when the divine mountain broke open, teacher's aura was unparalleled. It was so strong that it could easily destroy the entire world. However, not long after, we don't know what happened. His body lost its soul and fell from midair. There's no aura left." Hearing this, the woman took 2 steps back. "Where's his body?" the woman asked again. "Who are you?" Huoyu Hao didn't answer immediately. Instead, he asked doubtfully. "I'll ask again." The woman walked towards the 2 of them step by step and said word by word, "Where's his body?" Her eyes were filled with divine light and contained a strong pressure. The entire world seemed to have frozen. It was taken away. Huoyu Hao could only bite the bullet and say, "Who took it away?" "Teacher's wife. We don't know where she went." Wang Dong supported Huoyu Hao and said with a gloomy face, "Wife." The woman was startled. "Who? Ning Rongrong? Zhu Zhuqing? Or? I don't know. I really don't know." Huoyu Hao was shocked. These people were all ancient figures. Teacher had so many close female friends? He hurriedly said, "Originally, we sealed teacher's body in the extreme north. Later, a woman who claimed to be teacher's wife appeared and took away teacher's body. Then, she disappeared. She was very strong. We couldn't stop her." Wang Dong nodded at the side. The woman looked at Wang Dong and squinted her eyes. Suddenly, she said, "You're Tang San's daughter?" Wang Dong was shocked once again. This was his secret. Not many people knew about it. Why did 2 people he had never seen before appear in front of him, as if they knew about it? How did you know?" Wang Dong asked carefully. The woman looked at the sky. Her expression was neither sad nor happy. No expression could be seen. Angel Yu was uneasy at the side. She knew that the king was very unhappy in his heart. As Wang's left-wing guardian angel, she could still feel Wang's emotions. Angel Yu knew that the 2 of them were not lying. With Wang's strength, she didn't need to ask. As long as Wang wanted to, he could know with a thought. But maybe he just wanted to get a definite answer, so he still asked. Obviously, the situation wasn't very good. At this moment, her eyebrows moved slightly. Suddenly, she transmitted a message to the woman. "King, there's news from the Angel Nebula. The newborn angels born in the Angel Nebula seem to have the aura of those angels who died in the Galactic War." Wang didn't answer. He seemed to be completely uninterested in this. Angel Yu wanted to remind him, but Wang was in a bad mood. She thought about it and decided not to. "Let's go." The woman suddenly spoke. "Where to?" Angel Yu asked. "To the God Realm," the woman said indifferently. "This," Wang Dong suddenly said, "you may not be able to go to the God Realm. The God Realm has long lost contact with our world. The passage to the God Realm has long been closed. We can't go to the God Realm. The God Realm can't come here either. No, since you know my father, you must be from the God Realm. How did you come here?" Hearing this, the woman was stunned. She seemed to have thought of something. She didn't come from the God Realm. Instead, she was reincarnated into the Angel Nebula in another universe. Then, she used the Holy Atom to open a universe transition and came to this universe. Then, she found this familiar world. Could it be that you're really dead? The woman muttered to herself. Her face was calm. The aura emitted from her body made Angel Yu tremble. She knew that something was wrong. Chapter 1661. The moment he stepped into the water, Wang Feng felt the world around him change. Countless scenes turned the surroundings into a pure white curtain. Space and time separated at this moment and then reunited. A moment later, the light and shadow reunited. There seemed to be a boom in his head, and he opened his eyes. The water was just a spatial passage. It didn't actually leave the soul world. Wang Feng could feel that he was still in the soul world. It was just that the position had changed. This was a special space in the world. Moreover, Wang Feng saw many historical scenes of the Dark Devil world in the water tunnel. It was like when he entered the Star Soul Road in the Void Domain and saw many scenes of the God world. In the end, everything disappeared. The first thing that entered his sight was a well. Floating clouds and mist surrounded the well. Above the well, there were dozens of transparent passageways that looked like shackles. He could faintly hear the sound of flowing water. Those passageways should be the ones that connected to the soul-cleansing sea. They entered the well. Wang Feng sensed a grand and profound feeling from the well. Different from the endless golden reincarnation sea in the God world, this well seemed to have condensed a powerful will and law. This is an artifact, a Kane treasure that carries the reincarnation power of all living beings. Wang Feng knew. This should be the reincarnation well. Taking a deep breath, Wang Feng looked around. This place was very strange. Looking up, he couldn't see the clouds and sky. Looking down, there was no sea or land. It was as if he was in a space of nothingness, and there was only one well. Wang Feng took a small step forward. In an instant, the shadow of a palace suddenly appeared from the reincarnation well. The palace was like a heavenly palace, ancient and mysterious. It was dark gold all over and gave off a very dazzling light. It looked real. Wang Feng was bewildered and took another step forward. The palace became more and more solid. At least when Wang Feng took dozens of steps and was only a few steps away from the reincarnation well. The dazzling dark golden palace was right in front of him. Moreover, the palace enveloped the reincarnation well. It should be some kind of restriction. As long as I get close to the reincarnation well, it will be triggered. Is this palace just to protect the reincarnation well? Wang Feng's eyes flashed. The primordial origin guided the palace into it for deduction. Especially the gate of the palace. There were a total of 9 shackles on the door, and 3 of them had already been broken. Each shackle contained a powerful power of law. But even so, the sealed door made people want to break it open and enter the palace to take a look at the reincarnation well. Not only that. Wang Feng stopped. The palace was tens of thousands of feet tall, and the gate looked extremely grand. Every chain was like a horizontal pillar that supported the heavens, and they were covered with dense runes, as if they were sealing something. Wang Feng counted from bottom to top. Suddenly, he began to analyze the patterns on the 5th shackle. The patterns on the 5th shackle came from the Douluo world. The door's shackles should also be locking the world's reincarnation passage, right? Wang Feng seemed to understand something. The God realm was unable to sense the Douluo world. Just like what Shiyu had said when Wang Feng first met her, if he wanted to open the passage to the Douluo world, he had to go to the Dark Demon realm and find the Well of Reincarnation. Since he was already in the vicinity of the Reincarnation Well, that meant that the Dark Demon realm's Creation Demon realm should also be nearby. The intelligence formed from the God realm's Creation Demon realm was Shiyu herself. Then the Dark Demon realm, Wang Feng thought for a long time and waited for a long time. He didn't seem to see the Yama Lord. Wang Feng didn't think too much and directly picked up the Pangu axe, intending to try to break the other shackles on the door. He had a feeling that if he saw the Well of Reincarnation, as long as he opened this door, he might be able to know everything. He might even know the secrets of the system, because Wang Feng could feel that the system wasn't in his body all along. Instead, it was in a fixed position and left a mark. It was waiting for him to trigger it. As for who left it, even if the Well of Reincarnation wasn't the end, with his current realm, once the system's voice appeared, he would definitely be able to detect it and find the source from the clues. Holding the Pangu axe tightly in his hand, a huge amount of power surged from his soul. In the next moment, Wang Feng's axe directly slashed at the 6th shackle. Boom! In an instant, the endless light was annihilated, and cracks appeared on the sixth shackle. Seeing this, Wang Feng didn't hesitate and slashed at it again. This shackle was strengthened by countless origin laws and was very hard. With the power of the Pangu axe, the sixth shackle only showed signs of breaking when Wang Feng slashed at it for the fourth time. Until the 10th slash, Wang Feng used all his strength in each slash before it broke. After the sixth shackle was broken, a thick black gas suddenly spread out from the shackle. That is, seeing that black gas, Wang Feng's pupils constricted slightly. At this moment, all of a sudden, a figure appeared in the void and absorbed the black gas. Immediately after, this figure looked at Wang Feng from the void. As the clouds and mist dispersed, the figure gradually appeared in front of him. It was a woman, and a woman that Wang Feng was very familiar with. To be precise, it was a woman's body. Wang Feng was very familiar with it. How could he not be familiar with it? This body was personally created by Wang Feng back then. That's right, it was the body of Bibidon when he was resurrected back then. Of course, the owner of this body was not Bibidon. It was the Yama Lord. Wang Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at the figure in the air. As expected of the Pangu axe, the supreme sacred artifact that is said to be able to split the chaos of the universe. The figure spoke softly, but her voice was somewhat quiet. Now, it can easily break a will and demonic pillar and will shackle with just a portion of its power. She knew about the Pangu axe. This was not beyond Wang Feng's expectations. One had to know that the former demon god Dai knew about the Pangu axe. And Demon God Dai had a close relationship with Yama Lord back then, so it was not surprising that Yama Lord knew about the Pangu axe. In the soul world, you left behind the demon god Huang Hai's demonic soul and the imperial demon god's demonic soul. Wang Feng looked at the latter and said slowly, "You didn't just leave them for me, but specifically for the Pangu axe as nourishment for its recovery, right? They are just your pawns. It's not bad that you can think of this." Yama Lord looked at Wang Feng and nodded slightly. "Indeed, you left them for the Pangu axe as nourishment for its recovery. However, it's a pity that you didn't manage to do it completely. You only absorbed the demon god Huang Hai's demonic soul. If I had known, I would have also split the imperial demon god's demonic soul into several pieces. But a complete demonic soul is much better than a split one." Yama Lord sighed slightly. "The quality is also much worse. I thought that the imperial demon god was a well-behaved master, unlike Huang Hai who was unpredictable, but I didn't expect— You didn't expect that a pawn would also act up?" Wang Feng looked at her coldly. It was not that he felt pity for the demon god Huang Hai and the imperial demon god. To be precise, he did not care what happened to the demon god Huang Hai and the imperial demon god, whether they were used by Yama Lord or treated as pawns. However, it was obvious that Yama Lord treated him as a pawn as well. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.